Guardians have been unbeatable at home this year, and they get swept by the D-backs at home. The Royals beat the Red Sox. They gain a game in the wild card up to a game and a half. They salvage the series. Cole Reagans has a couple of bad pitches, one that really shouldn't have been in the game anyway, but he pitches into the seventh inning. Urseg comes through and looks like Urseg, and the Royals get out of there with a win, take care of business. We'll talk some Royals here in this first hour. We will talk with Kent Swanson coming up at 11 o'clock, KC Sports Network, kcsn.substack.com. Adam Teicher will be our guest at noon. Typically on a Tuesday we talk to Adam, but we'll talk with him today with the practices going on Tuesday and the Chiefs having today and tomorrow off, getting ready for Jacksonville. Today off, traveling tomorrow, and facing off against the Jags on Saturday, first preseason game. We heard from Andy Reid yesterday. The starters will get the first quarter. We know from Andy Reid's past, Patrick Mahomes will get the first drive. And then we'll see whatever, we can glean from that first game and who will be watching and paying attention to, and the interest level in certain players will be there. We'll talk with Kent Swanson, Adam Teicher about both of those things. And then, of course, it's a Thursday, so we play a little sports or leisure presented by Johnny's Tavern. We got sports, we got leisure, we got $25. That's right.
Leisure.
In the final hour. That's sports. We're getting sporty for the first 3 hours, and then we'll switch it up with sports and leisure in the final hour. 913-912-4810 is the text line. 913-912-4810. The good and bad of baseball. I love it because, after Monday night's game, the Royals end up losing that one. And Tuesday was a tougher pill to swallow because it was a one-run game and because there was more sloppiness in Tuesday's specific game than there was in Monday's. Okay. There were questions of managerial, keeping a guy in the game, taking him out, putting whatever bullpen. There were questions Tuesday and Monday, but it seemed like a lot of it went into Tuesday because you knew you lost the series. You lost the tiebreaker to the Red Sox, and you were a game up and a possibility of getting swept by the Red Sox. Like, Tuesday night's game was a tougher pill to swallow. But after Monday's game, and, I got a tweet after the game was over, and it said, I wonder how much in town the football mentality has taken over from where we were in 14, 15, and 16, where you sort of just knew and had a feeling of, like, stay the course the entire season. There's going to be ebbs and flows. You can live and die with every game, but there's also, like, some perspective that goes along with it. Whereas in football, there's 17. And when you lose, it's a week's worth of talking about the loss and what it means. And you've got, 4 days. 3 days of games, but, 4 days of games with Saturday as well. But you've got all these different days of games. But typically, back in the day, it was games on Sunday, games on Monday. You had a couple of days that you looked at who won, who lost, what's the standings, where are you in the standings, where are you in the playoff hunt. And there was so much put into one game. And that's how it is. There's so much put into one game. So I do wonder if there's a little bit of that it's been such Chiefs dominant that everything is one game for 17 weeks. Whereas this is an odd week that they only play 5 games. It's a weird week that they only play 5 times. And I thought it was an interesting point. That was before Tuesday. Because then Tuesday happened, and I'm like, I don't give a bleep about this. This cannot happen. This cannot stand. This is democracy manifest.
The aggression will not stand,
That's
man.
Right. That's right. And so then watching last night's game and what happened yesterday, just sort of a calmness then going back over the town of Royal. Like, all right, hey, we're back. We are so back, baby. We are back. This team's back in the playoffs. They are not going to be beaten. Bobby Witt is Bobby Baseball. Vinny Pasquantino is Hack Wilson. Cole Reagans, for the most part, looked pretty awesome as an ace. But this team is Urseg is Wade Davis. Like, this team's got it. They're going places now. And in reality, they're the same team today that they were Monday and Tuesday, with the same talent level, same players, etc. And now they're just in a better position, 4 games back in the division, a game and a half up in the wild card, and a half game back of the Twins.
And the same dumbass mistake. They still made a horrible mistake at
Yeah.
second base. Cost 30 runs.
Yep.
Again, I will always point out, as bad as that was for Massey, doesn't mean that the next pitch you have to just throw down the middle. Doesn't mean that you have to just throw a bad pitch that gets rocked for a 3-run shot. Still extra taxing on Reagan's. I think there's a lot of things to talk about in general. Reagan's going out for the 7th inning to begin with was, I think, very, very questionable. We all assumed he was done after 6. I get it. He's your quote-unquote ace in the bullpen. It's not been great. At least they are rested. But, again, my main takeaway was over my dead body.
Yep, that's what it was.
Bobby Witt Jr., when he hit that, was it the first pitch he saw? That slider low and away? That
For the second home run?
For the first home run.
Oh,
his first home run. Yeah, in the first
inning.
inning.
Yep.
I mean, that was just an absurd pitch to pull for a home run.
Yeah.
When he hit that, I go,
All right.
oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. He had another chance in the, what was it, the third? His second at bat, where he had the little weak blooper, thought it was going to fall, didn't fall. Then he made up for it, 0-2 count. 0-2 count!
0-2.
And he rips a ball over the right fielder's head for a double, scores 2 runs. Just so incredibly clutch. And we can talk about the MVP and Yankees fans, and it's great. He's a 2-tool guy. Aaron Judge, it's fine. But like what Bobby Witt Jr. did in this game just shows you how valuable he is to Kansas City. He was the big engine that could. He drove the bus in this one. 2 home runs, 10 total bases, 4 RBIs. There's just not enough superlatives you can possibly say that can understand what Bobby Witt Jr. is.
Yeah, when his second home run happened after his first home run and after the double down the right field line, also, I think that was 0-2. At least in the count, it started out 0-2. I tweeted out, Therese Paylor used to always say about Patrick Mahomes. He would call it the over my dead body games that Patrick Mahomes would have of like, I am not allowing this team to lose, right? R.I.P. Therese Paylor. We've lost so much knowledge about football from Therese not being with us. One of the bigger football losses. But he used to always say, over my dead body. That's as close of a baseball game and a baseball player that can have an over my dead body game. First inning, like you said, home run to left field. All right. He's saying, get on my back. All right. We're winning this game. We're not going to lose. And then coming up in the 4th inning, and I want to get to Massey and MJ Melendez, but coming up in the 4th inning, their at-bats were crucial, but they become moot if Bobby does not come through in the 4th inning and rip the double. And, of course, then we know that Vinny comes through with the 2-run home run. But it's 4-3 after MJ scores on the wild pitch. And then you've got Bobby Witt Jr. knocking in Michael Massey, knocking in Michael Garcia, and the Royals take the lead on that. If that's the 3rd out, it's still 4-3. If he strikes out, because let me look at what the count was for Bobby Witt. It was 0-2.
And it was 0-2 on the double. On the
pitch.
double, yeah.
Yeah, it was an 0-2 pitch that he took to right field, and they didn't get it high enough. They challenged him. They threw a high fastball. They did not get high enough, and he took it to right field. How many times have we seen him work that right field corner? I mean, on a pitch like that, he does it all the time. I'm going to guess like half his triples are in that area that he just rips it down the right field line. He's so incredibly gifted. There are fewer and fewer ways to describe what Bobby Witt Jr. is doing, but last night was one of those games where he was going to make sure his team won and was back in a position. Let's hear from Cole Reagans have an attempt at trying to describe what he watches every day with Bobby Witt Jr.
I don't even know if words really describe it. I mean, it's unbelievable. Like, I don't even know if I get surprised anymore in a sense. Like I do, but I don't, just because he's been doing it, every day, day in and day out. It's so fun to watch him do his thing. He's the same guy every day, works so hard, and see what happens on the field is just, it's so fun to watch.
I'm with Cole Reagans in that it's surprising and not. It's unbelievable and not. Surprising in that he just continues to come through. Not surprising because he continues to come through.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't be doing what he's doing right now. Like, you shouldn't have a stretch of baseball where, since the All-Star break, he's batting almost 500. In 19 games, he's still batting. Like, he had that crazy hot stretch where, like, oh my goodness, he's batting 500. 10 games later, he's still batting 481 since the All-Star break. Like, that's what's unbelievable about it. It's like he had a stretch where he was only going like 1 for 3 or like 1 for 4. And like, oh, he's not having these 3-hit games he had right out of the games. Oh, he's not batting 800 anymore. 481, 520 on base percentage since the All-Star break, 844 slug, a 1.36 since the All-Star break. And I mean, what he's done in 19 games, small sample size, in case anybody's parched out there.
I'm very thirsty.
Wants to go ahead and wet that whistle. He would be pacing for 51 home runs, 68 doubles, and 179 RBIs. What he's done in 19 games since the All-Star break. Oh, and batting 481. Other than that, it's ridiculous. Like, it's unbelievable, but not. It's hard to describe, yet easy. It's superlatives that then sound reductive because they don't truly tell the story of what he's doing. And that is not even to say what Vinny has been doing behind him.
Yeah.
Because Vinny has been a machine. In the last 9, and I'll go back to 33. I updated it yesterday. We said his last 32 games. Throw one more in there since he had that home run. Last 33 games, 144 plate appearances. He's batting 346. He's slugging 574. He's OPSing 930. It's going back to June 28th. All right, that's what, 6 weeks since he's been, playing like this?
Not a tiny sample size. I mean,
No,
that's a
not at all.
almost a fifth of the season right there.
Right. But over the last 9 games is when he's really become lava hot. Maybe not magma hot like Bobby was, but lava hot. In his last 9 games, he's OPSing at 1.2. But in 9 games, he has 6 home runs and 17 RBIs. You guys want to take a guess as to what that pace would be over 162?
So 6
Now,
and
it's only
9.
9 games. It's such
Nice.
such a small sample size. I know how
Well, that
dumb-
has to be like 100 or so, 100 plus home runs, right?
so dumb to think
It's
about
110.
what 9 games would be over 162. It's 108. Great math.
Thank you.
108 RBI, 108 home
and then
runs.
17. So he'd be 340 RBIs.
306.
306. Okay.
But like, I know it's dumb to say like, oh, he's done this over 9 games. What would he do over 162? But the fact that he's got 17 RBIs in 9 games, which would be 306 in a season.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Jason. Would that be a record?
I haven't looked it up. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Fanboy, if he can look it up, that'd be great. Can you give me right now just a thumbs up, thumbs down if that would be a record for 306 RBIs in a season?
Feels like it would be.
He gave me a thumbs up.
Okay.
Yep. I'm going to trust Fanboy's knowledge that 306 RBIs in one season would be a record. Is that an American League record or just the record for the majors? Did anybody in the National League do that? I got to go back and check. I'm not sure.
Honus Wagner, I think.
Did Eddie Goodell, did he get to that many RBIs? I'm not sure. Let me go check. I don't even think he was that many inches tall. Well, I guess that would be a pretty tall guy, regardless. Whatever. Millimeters tall. Let's go that
Yeah, I was
route.
like, wait
Sorry.
a minute. I think 306 inches
It's a
is
lot.
It's a big dude.
Yeah, that's like Durant. No? Okay, whatever. But Bobby's been unbelievable. Vinny, in the last 9 games, has been driving everybody in. And what I want to point out is a couple of weeks ago, we talked about Vinny's RBIs, and I had mentioned that, okay, a number of them are due to, guys getting on base in front of him, Bobby Witt's triples, guys being at third base. He's leading the league in sacrifice flies. If you want to call that a cheap RBI or not, whatever. These are not cheapies. No, he's doubles, home runs, line drive singles, not only getting the RBI, but passing the baton without an out. Because the sacrifice fly is nice. You get the run home. You also get an out. and you may clear the bases at that point and have to start over for the guy behind you with either one out or 2 outs in the inning. But a home run clears the bases too. But that's the best way to clear the bases is to hit the home run and have a clean base paths. But he's doing it while passing the baton to the next guy. Last night was such a big deal to me. It was only one game, but there was more to it than one game because it was a number of guys coming through and saying, we're going to win this. Even after the team could have folded. They could have folded. Michael Massey could have folded, went into a shell after the 3-run error.
Sure.
Because Cole Reagan's had 4 runs, only one of them earned. It was a bad play, made even worse by the fact that he's done it back-to-back games. He just did it on Tuesday, and he makes the same mistake last night. It's one thing that mistakes happen in baseball. You just can't make the same one over and over again, and certainly not back-to-back nights. Nobody feels worse than Michael Massey when that ball left the yard. As mad or annoyed, as frustrated as Cole Reagan's was, the man that wanted to dig a hole in the dirt and then just bury it is Michael Massey. Anywhere but standing out there on second base kicking the dirt.
Yeah.
Watching that ball fly is where Michael Massey wanted to be. I understand that. He could have gone into a shell and called it a day. But he comes up in the 4th inning with 2 outs, men on base, down 0-2, and works a walk on a 9-pitch at bat. Down 0-2 on a 9-pitch at bat, works a walk to hand the baton to Bobby. For then Bobby to come through the way that he did. Like that's doing what you can to try to make up for the mistake that you had and not letting the one mistake add on and build on. Don't take the mistake in the field up to the plate. Don't take your at-bats out to the field. How can you separate those two? And I thought Michael Massey did a fantastic job last night of showing the ability to separate what happens in the field from what he can do at the plate, what happens at the plate from what he does at the field. I'm hoping that mistake wouldn't be made again anytime soon. I'm going to guess that if it's going to be even close at second base, Massey's going to throw to first. I would have guessed that before the game last night.
Yeah.
But when you pile it on one more, that's really driving the point home.
Yeah, it was nice though to see him again separate that. Massey had a nice game at the plate overall. That at bat was massive. But the Royals game plan,
Massive.
Well,
Sorry.
The Royals game, that was just so, yeah, it's such a dad joke.
What do you
The Royals game plan though as a whole I thought was phenomenal in this one. Crawford's a very good pitcher. He's had a really good year. You won't see it that much after this game because his ERA skyrocketed, obviously now. But getting deep into counts, knowing that the Boston's bullpen is atrocious, and knowing that Kenley Jansen pitched a 1 1/3 inning the night before. Like I thought that the game plan was solid in this one. Was take pitches, have some long at bats, and I think MJ Melendez was a perfect example of this. MJ Melendez went 0 for 2. Oh no, the batting average goes down so much. 2 massive walks and 2 massive base running plays. Just the slide at home was great.
Yep.
I know. Was it Reef Schneider and Wright had a bobble? It wasn't really even a bobble.
It's sort of like a clutch, like almost like
yeah.
I don't think the ball came up the way that he thought it was going to come up.
Correct.
He had to stay down on it a little bit longer. It didn't bounce the way that he was, and if it bounced the way that he thought it was going to bounce, I think MJ's out.
Because the throw was phenomenal.
Yeah.
But MJ got around it.
Yep.
He made the great heads up play to slide into second to no one out of the box. Hey, I'm going.
Yep.
I'm going. I just thought MJ Melendez in this game was way more than the box score. He was a huge part in getting Crawford out of this game.
Yeah.
Again, we all know that the batting average is not going to be good with MJ. We all know that we've been extremely hard on this show on MJ Melendez. But you got to give credit where credit's due. And in the past few weeks, past few games specifically, MJ's come up big. And he came up big in this one.
Yep, no doubt. And by the way, do the Royals have the best third base coach in baseball?
Oh, my gosh.
Because Vance Wilson is unreal. When's the last time he made a mistake? Knock on wood if you're with me, boys.
Sorry, dogs.
Yep. When's the last time he's made a mistake? Like, that was such a close play. But Vance Wilson, the way he gets down the line, right? I love how he gets and on his belly, right, and is slapping the grass for the guy to slide. Like, you know it's going to be a close play. You better dig. If Vance Wilson's laying on the grass, I better get on my horse. I better freaking go. But he gave himself like an extra half step to be able to read the little bit of a clutch and where the ball landed and how it bounced, the certain bounce. And then you see Vance Wilson waving MJ on the certain, like, honestly, he might be the best third base coach in baseball. And I don't know that we really think about that much.
Hey, PFF, can you grade this, please? Can we get PFF to grade the third base coach?
Is he the Mahomes of third base coaches?
We just need to do the re-simulation of the Gordon play at third, and we'll see what he does.
I think Vance Wilson would have held him, too.
Yeah, I think so, too.
He's too good.
Which means he's, hey,
Yeah,
there
right.
you go.
Yes, I mean, he's
the right call.
It's I would the alternate universe where you send him. What happens? Do they bobble the ball? Is Buster Posey not make a play? He's out. But still, I don't know the last time that he sent somebody and he's been out by like 3 feet. Or he held somebody and the throw went into the stands. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't remember many of those, and I don't think we really talk much about that. But after that play, I'm like, good God, man. He just continues to make so many good decisions at third. And maybe it's because of how demonstrative he is and his theatrics over at third with getting down and slapping the grass. And
Like when he sent Salvi the other day, and
Right.
Salvi had to swim around it.
Why
I
did
was
you
like,
send Salvi?
Yeah. And it
He's
was
toast, Vance.
perfect call.
Great call. Great
Yeah.
send.
The no, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great send.
Vance knows. Not Bo knows. Vance knows.
Dude, he's a better friend than Wilson to Tom Hanks.
How'd we get that
Better
guy off the
Wilson
couch?
to that. Right? I mean, come on, man. It's great. I want to hear real quick, Matt Quattrero, because we were talking about Massey's at bat and MJ's at bat. Matt Quattrero started his press conference, which I thought was appropriate, but started the press conference talking about that fourth inning with those at bats and then Massey handing it over to Bobby.
20 pitches between those two guys, right? MJ's at bat. I thought really right from the get-go tonight, he looked like he was in more control of himself, his body, laid off. The first pitch he saw was a curveball. He's been swinging at that. But other than that, what stood out was just how hard he had to work, and then the walks, and then clearly it's important for us to get Bobby back up to the plate. So Massey's walk, he doesn't walk a ton, but to work those, take some tough pitches, foul off some tough pitches, he elevates against them, was able to get to it and foul it off. So they were tremendous at-bats. Bobby's, they tried to climb the ladder. That's one of his strengths. Just didn't get it there enough to get it by him.
You can't sneak a piece of cheese past a hungry rat. Come on.
I mean, the thing is, though, how much can that guy eat? I mean, Bobby, is he still hungry? That guy.
A lot of cheese.
What do you got, a hollow leg? Raise your hand if you heard that at one point in your life. Well, he's eating us out of house and home. All right, we'll take
Were
it.
you born in the 20s? Like, what?
Your mom? Oh, you didn't eat that much? You were never a growing boy?
I mean, I was, but the way
I'm a boy.
Dylan,
I'm a real boy.
Didn't that sound like he was born in the 1920s in a log
Dylan,
cabin?
I actually nodded my head when
There
he
you
said,
go.
I
See, you can't see that Dylan was right along with me going, yep.
Dang, so
Hollow
I'm just-
leg, eating us out of house and home.
I've heard
Yep.
the second part, but
Okay.
the
You've never heard? What do you got, a hollow leg? Where are you putting all that food, huh?
I've heard that part. Where are you putting all that food? Yeah. Never heard. Do you have a hollow leg?
The texters at 913-912-4810 are going to be all over you for not hearing that. That's like, you know what? Bless your heart. Lugo was fighting it. Reagan's the 3-run home run. I'm totally in agreement with you, Sterling, that it's a bad play by Massey. You also don't have to give up the home run. You also are allowed to get an out and not just give up a 3-run home run. It was a bad pitch. It was a great swing. And you get beat on that on a guy that should not have been up in that situation. But that hit and then the solo home run the next inning, it's like, if you take away those 4 runs, but those 2 at bats, he was pitching really well and efficient. And I think he had like 11 or 12 pitches in the 6th inning. So it wasn't like Seth Lugo's 5th, where he threw 20-something pitches and worked out of a bases-loaded jam to get a strikeout. And then you sent him back out there. It wasn't like Brady Singer in the 5th inning on Monday that had like 15 or 16 pitches and worked out of a jam by getting a double play.
Sure.
To get out of it had a different feeling, but I was concerned of, are we going down the same route? Difference being, I felt fully confident because it was the 7th that he would go to Urseg,
sure,
as opposed to Long or Zerpa. So I had a little bit more of a comfort in that, not to mention they were leading, at that time. So I was more okay with that. I like the reasoning in terms of there's an extra day off for him. I also didn't think that they needed him to go in the 7th.
Yeah.
Like if they had been taxed and they didn't have a day off coming up, it's like, well, I sent him back out there for the 7th because we needed him. Our bullpen has been pitching all these innings the bullpen overall, but it's guys that you aren't really going to use in leverage situations when you need them that have been pitching the last couple of nights. So your bullpen was somewhat rested, especially with a couple days off. That's the only part of that, but I was okay with that decision last night, even in the back of my mind going, I want to have the reaction beforehand. I'm good with sending him out because Monday and Tuesday I was not good. So what's the difference here? What are the reasons why I'm okay with this one? And if it doesn't work out, I will not be on the air complaining about the fact that he sent him back out there. But I can understand if you had first...
I would have been livid. Because my initial reaction was, why the hell is he going out for the 7th? You have a rested bullpen. I figured Ursig was going 2 innings. And I just give him a clean inning to start with. Don't make him have to dance out of trouble, although he did a great job of dancing out of trouble. Ursig, how many things can you say about him and just what he means and brings to this bullpen? Will Smith getting it locked down in the 9th, obviously not a save, but it's nice to see him on this stretch ever since he got shelled to start the year. He's down now to a 3.93 ERA. Will Smith doesn't have phenomenal underlying numbers. Part of that is he doesn't get any strikeouts. He's not a strikeout pitcher at all. You do not want him coming in. When Sam Long and Zerpa came in, there's a reason why, even if Will Smith might be a better pitcher at this current moment right now, he's not a strikeout guy. So one of those options is off the table. I like Will Smith when he's starting an inning right now. I don't know if he's a 9th inning guy or necessarily if this is a closer game, if he's pitching this situation. But he really has turned things around. But when you watched Ursig come in and throw 100 miles an hour with movement, who was up to bat? Was that was that Abreu?
Oh, in the 7th?
It must have been Abreu.
It was Willie Abreu. Or Willier Abreu, whatever.
When Abreu came up, and that 100-mile-an-hour two-seamer / sinker that looked like it was going at him and ended up over the middle of the plate, and he just turned right around. Yeah. That pitch was missing from the bullpen.
Well, and your point on Will Smith, that he's not the ERA is bad, and earlier in the year he was dreadful. He's not getting strikeouts, but he's also not getting hard contact either. Like he's in the I just looked it up because last night I'm like, okay, so he got the pop out, he got the lazy fly out, and then he got the ground out. I'm like, oh, so out of the entire season, with his ERA what it is, and the hits he's given up, and the runs he's given up, he's still in the 88th percentile of average exit velocity through the course of the overall season. That includes the first month when he was getting shellacked. So he doesn't get hard contact. And with the defense the Royals have behind them, including Massey at second base, last couple of nights included, he's good enough in the bullpen that I think he becomes somebody that is moving up the trustworthy ladder. I don't need him as my closer, but he's moving up the trustworthy ladder in which they were up 8-4 in the 9th, and I didn't have a concern. When he went out there, I'm like, I didn't have a concern like, oh no, here comes gasoline. Here comes gasoline on the fire. This isn't going to be, This isn't going to be a guy that's going to come in and just go 3 up, 3 down. I didn't have that feeling. I was perfectly fine. I was good with it because that's what I've seen from Will Smith as of late. You know, there are more guys in the bullpen that I'm trusting now. Ursig, obviously, number one. But, you know, Will Smith and Chris Bubich have moved pretty high up. And when they get Schreiber back, hopefully, you know, he gets back to when he was, you know, pitching his best self.
April.
That's right.
April Schreiber
April
was.
Schreiber.
Can't hang a banner for April Schreiber.
That's right.
Were you concerned at all? Part of my concern with Riggins going out for the 7th was the velocity. I don't know if it's. I don't want to say dead arm,
yeah.
but pretty much ever since the All-Star break, it's been down a little bit. The first one back was real down, and he still touched 95.
Yeah,
he maybe got a 96 in there.
It felt like his top end velocity last night was what his average velocity's been this year.
And again, for a guy who's never pitched this many innings, that was it's part of my concern. I know you're trying to win, but you have Ursig, who I thought was going to go for 2. Riggins at that point had thrown like 97 pitches, 98 pitches.
He was at 95 because he had 11. So he ended up with 106.
Correct, yeah.
And he had 11 in the 7th. So 95. But he's
he's
at 95. You're up by 4 runs, and he's at 95 pitches already. You're going into the 7th with Ursig and Harvey and Will Smith and whoever else you might want to throw out there.
And the velocity's been down. I don't know if I'm concerned, but I think it's something to take a look at. He did get a swinging strikeout on a 91 mile-an-hour fastball. That was 91. That's a good amount lower. And again, it was a swinging strikeout, so there's still some movement on it. It's not straight 91, so it's still a solid fastball even at 93. But I don't know if it's something to watch or if I'm overreacting here, but something to keep an eye on. The velocity has been down.
I think it's something to keep an eye on for sure. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue rolling. I want to look at what Bobby Witt has done so far this year. I don't even want to extrapolate it and see what the pace is for the entire season as to what he would end up with. I want to look at what Bobby Witt has done in 116 games and to see how many people in the history of the game have done over an entire season what Bobby Witt's done to this point. We'll do that next. Royals have the best third base coach in baseball with Vance Wilson? Yes, or I don't watch baseball. Those are the two choices. So far, 73% is yes. There are 27% of people out there that don't watch baseball. So that's good. That's fine. Whatever. But also I said, let's look at Bobby Witt Jr., what he's done this year, to compare him historically. Not even what he's pacing for. What has he actually done this year so far? 116 games. Okay. Bobby Witt Jr. in 116. 22 home runs, 33 doubles, 10 triples, 84 RBIs, 99 runs, 25 bags, batting .349. Over the course of a full season, you want to take a gander as to how many people have done that over the course of a full season? Those numbers, not even pacing, because what he's pacing for, nobody's ever done.
Yeah, what he's pacing for.
What he's pacing for has never been done. And by the way, what he's pacing for is 31 home runs, 46 doubles, 14 triples, 117 RBIs, 35 stolen bases on 138 runs scored. Never been done before, even if I drop the batting average out of it.
And so it doesn't have to be shortstop, correct?
No, just any player in
Because I feel like A-Rod's done this.
No. Nope.
A-Rod has not done this.
He's not, over a full season, he's not had those numbers.
The triples are where it's going to make it.
Triples
make
what
hard.
makes it tough. I think A-Rod came close, but had like 4 triples.
Yeah, A-Rod would be my first guess. Oh, who was the guy? Trey from like 1900 something.
I don't know.
Tris, T-R-I-S. Speaker, Tris Speaker.
Tris Speaker?
Yeah.
No, it was not Tris Speaker.
Okay, Tris. I thought it was a good guess there, Tris Speaker. You're making me seem like zero.
No
one.
It was Willie Mays.
Wow.
And Willie Mays did it in 152 games. So Bobby Witt, 22 home runs. Willie Mays had 29. Bobby Witt, 33 doubles. Willie Mays had 33. Bobby Witt, 10 triples. Willie Mays had 11. Bobby Witt, 84 RBIs. Willie Mays had 96. Bobby Witt, 99 runs. Willie Mays had 121. Bobby Witt, 25 stolen bases. Willie Mays had 31. Bobby Witt, 349 batting average right now. I dropped it just so I could include Willie Mays. He batted 347 that year. 347. So, I mean, technically at 349, but even if I drop it to like 335, there still isn't anybody in baseball that did that with a 335 batting average. And that's him dropping 14 points the rest of the way.
Yeah.
Willie Mays in 1958, in 152 games, did what Bobby Witt has already done in 116 games. You know what's crazy about that year? Willie Mays finished second in the MVP voting.
And you said 62?
In 58.
Oh, 58.
He finished second to Ernie Banks.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, and he had like 1.2 higher WAR than Ernie Banks. I don't know why the writers didn't look at the WAR for those two back in the day.
They should have looked at. Well, back then it was like an actual war they were looking at. It was
good call.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Willie Mays in 1958 put together in 152 games what Bobby Witt's done in 116.
Insane.
It's the combination of everything. That's like, yes, he's only got 22 home runs. He's only pacing for 31 home runs as a shortstop. I get it. He's not going to hit 50 this year. He's only pacing for a 30-30, back-to-back 30-30 seasons as a shortstop. He's only pacing to win the batting title. I get it. He's not hitting 50 home runs. But the combination of all of those things, the doubles, the triples, the home runs, the stolen bases, the runs scored, the RBIs, the batting average, it's never been done before in baseball. Quite literally, his 349 batting average then would eliminate Willie Mays from this conversation. He would be the only one in history if he didn't play another game this year. His numbers would still be the only person in baseball that would have done this year. I think he's good, Sterling. I disagree with everything you've said about Bobby. since they won 8 games in a row. They had their 8-game winning streak, and they went up 9 games on the Royals at that point when they had won 8 straight. The Guardians are very quietly 16-21 since they had that 8-game winning streak to go up 9 games in the division. They're 16-21. And they have 3 of the top 12 bullpen arms in most appearances this year. It starts to wear down. They've got an amazing bullpen, but if you're using them night after night after night, and especially if you're 5 games under 500 in your last 37 games, while dropping 5 games in the standings, while using those arms, we'll see what happens the rest of the way. Both teams and the Twins all have tough schedules, and they all play each other, so they'll be able to decide it on the field. Deciding it on the field has been the Chiefs over the last 6 years. And 3 Super Bowls in the last 5. Joining us now, Kent Swanson, KCSN.substack.com, the KC Laboratory Podcast. Kent, welcome into the show. How are you, sir?
I, too, am enjoying the great regression of the Cleveland Guardians.
Great regression.
So,
I love it.
Yeah.
I like it. I like
That's what we're gonna call it.
The great regression of Cleveland. That's awesome. We should ask Travis Kelce about that. If Cleveland keeps losing and the Royals catch up, ask Travis, hey, you rooting for Bobby? The Royals, or you pulling for your Guardians? Like, what are you doing there, Trav? How you feeling, brother? Really put him on the spot. Hold his feet to the fire, Kent. That's what you're out there for. Hold those guys to the fire, even though technically you're not out there. But still, in my mind, Kent, you're there in spirit.
I would be curious how diplomatic Travis handled that situation, though, right?
I think he'd handle it well.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I think he would. I think he handled it just fine. But yes, it has been enjoyable watching baseball and talking baseball in August. It has been a very long time since we've talked baseball in August, especially the week when the Chiefs are getting ready to play their first preseason game. Kent Swanson is our guest. I want to get into what you wrote about the players you're looking forward to watching on Saturday, but I am curious with the depth chart that came out. Unofficial, always got to put that out there, unofficial depth chart. Anything, couple things that stand out to you when you look at this depth chart from where some names are?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just interesting that Carson Steele is listed as a fullback.
Yeah.
Just straight up putting him there. I think that was kind of fun. Outside of that, I don't think there was a ton of surprises. I mean, maybe Kadarius Toney being so far down the list there, also a little bit fascinating as well. I don't put too much stock in it right now, obviously, and I don't think anybody really should, but I do think what we see this week and, what we see this week, and I think the subsequent practices after that are going to be a pretty clear indication of where these competitions are heading. There can always be a little bit of adjustments here or there, but I do think that this team really likes to settle in after that first preseason game, so I'm quite fascinated to see what happens here.
Update on the volleyball match going on. Again, the 5th set, U.S.-Brazil semifinals, 1st to 15. It was tied at 7-7, and U.S. has gone on a run. Brazil just called a timeout. U.S. is up 12-8. Again, rally scoring up 12-8. They've got quite the stranglehold. They need 3 more points to move on to the gold medal match. So just giving people an update on that. Kadarius Toney, I want to talk about that. I definitely want to get into Carson Steele, but we'll talk about Carson Steele and some of the players that you want to watch this weekend. But Kadarius Toney being listed as essentially number 9 on the depth chart for the wide receiver. I look at it and I go, okay, so is there something to take away from this? All right, he didn't show up to minicamp, mandatory minicamp, but he didn't show up to OTAs. He was there at the mandatory, but anything that's voluntary, he wasn't there for, and he's been injured in practice so far. So I go, all right, so they are they trying to make a statement here that Justin Ross has been doing what he needs to do, and therefore he's getting a bump? Is it because he's been injured, and therefore these are just the guys that have been out there playing? And I look at the aspect of, okay, he's been injured, and these are just the guys playing, but Justin Reed is listed as a starter, and he hasn't taken a snap in training camp in St. Joe. So I go back and forth from I don't know that it's really anything to I wonder if there is some sort of a point that the Chiefs are making that, early on they were giving him some snaps at running back, but you can't make the club in the tub. And he wasn't exactly in a position to take the summer off. and not show up to voluntary stuff, and yet he did.
Yeah, I think it could be a statement. I don't think it's too far removed from where, I mean, you could make a case he's wide receiver 9. You can make a case he's wide receiver 5, 6, right?
Right.
I think a lot has to go right for Kadarius Toney that hasn't historically in his time in the league for him to make this team. And part of it is health. I think it's a big it's a big training camp for him because he has to show value, show consistency, stay healthy, and those are things that have not happened for him in his NFL career. I mean, even last year he was struggling with some injury issues as well. So I think it could be an indication of where things are heading for him, because if he's not able to to show that he's healthy, I think he's going to have a hard time making this team, and this team's going to have a hard time trusting him. I know they're trying to find ways to utilize him and trying to find ways to make him fit. And if he does make this roster, I think he's a package player more than he is a reliable, contributor onto this team. But yeah, he's got to stay healthy for the majority of this. And if he doesn't, I think he's probably off the roster.
Yeah, I saw. I mean, it might have been Mike Florio and PFT or whatever that said, Kadarius Toney depth chart shows that his time with the Chiefs may be coming to an end. And again, the next couple of weeks will tell a pretty decent story. And I think health is a massive part of whether or not Kadarius Toney is going to be a part of this team. Can he remain healthy? Can he stay on the field? And I also, just even looking at the fact that, he's not even in the top 3 of punt returners. By the way, the U.S. just won 15-10, so they are moving on to the gold medal match, the women's indoor volleyball. Justin Ross is listed in the top 6, I guess, if we just go down the line of what this depth chart is. He's had a couple of good practices. He broke camp with the team last year. How much potential do you think there is for Justin Ross being one of the 6 or 7 wide receivers again this year with the Chiefs?
I think his outlook's better than I thought it was a week ago.
Yeah, me too.
2 weeks ago. I think he's starting to make a few plays here, in training camp, and getting to see some of those strengths that he has, down in the red zone. A guy that can go up and get the football. And my co-host on the show, Matthew Lane, kind of talks a lot about, from a body type perspective, the Chiefs don't really have a ton of guys like Justin Ross. And I mean, that's a great point there too. It's just, he fits a mold that this team really doesn't have a ton of. So if you want a different body type, on that roster, maybe he gets the nod over some of these other guys that are competing hard for an opportunity here in that wide receiver room. And I think special teams plays a factor too. If he's can show that he can play a little bit of special teams, that's going to go a long way in helping him kind of crack that 53-man as well.
Visiting with Kent Swanson, kcsn.substack.com. So talking a little bit about the depth chart. Kingsley Suamataia listed at left tackle. It is funny to me, and it makes sense, sort of the conversation around that. But it is interesting, funny that all summer long it's like, all right, who's going to start at left tackle? Is it going to be Kingsley? Is it going to be Wanya Morris? Who's going to be the starting left tackle? Is Kingsley going to win the job? And we see the first unofficial depth chart, and Kingsley starting at left tackle. And I did the same thing. It's like, all right, okay, Kingsley at left tackle. Wow, look at Toney. What's he doing? Fullback Carson Steele. Shamari Connor's just listed as a cornerback. Like, I sort of just glossed right over the fact that Kingsley is listed as the starter at left tackle for this team. But I think the reason is that's been expected. Once they put the pads on, right, Ken, it's been all Kingsley really running with the first team. So Wanya Morris would have been more of a surprise than Kingsley starting on Saturday.
All meaningful reps have gone to Kingsley Suamataia at this point. So you're talking about the pads. I think every now and then when some of their padless practices, they might throw Wanya in there a little bit to get a few reps here or there. But this isn't a competition anymore, in my opinion. It doesn't feel like it's been a competition for 2 weeks. Maybe a couple reps here there to make Wanya keep the morale up for Wanya. But honestly, it feels like they've settled the situation here. And I think one thing that's going to be fascinating to watch is Kingsley Suamataia's reps in this first game. Does he go play every single snap with the starters and then leave? Do they take him out after that? I think that's a pretty strong indication. Is like if he gets a little bit of extra time too with the, with the second team offensive line, what that situation looks like. I just think, he might be a guy that, gets the same kind of reps as Creed and Trey, and then they let him, get off the field. And that thing tells you exactly everything you need to know about the tackle situation if that's the case.
Yeah. And he's got a test against Josh Allen Hines and Travon Walker this weekend. However many pass reps he gets against those guys, hopefully their first-team defense stays in the entire first quarter. We looked it up. Doug Peterson played his starters last year in the first preseason game. Trevor Lawrence got a series or maybe two, but either way, he played Trevor Lawrence. He played his starters, so the expectation is that those starters would be there. And Doug Peterson, Andy Reid, coaching tree. So even though Patrick Mahomes will play one series, the starters out there to get an idea of what Kingsley looks like against Josh Allen Hines and against Travon Walker, I think it's going to be massive to tell us a lot, and I think to tell the Chiefs a lot, because Andy Reid said you want to see what they look like in the game, the toughness, the pad level, all of those things when it's real live action and guys can go to the ground and you're tackling and you don't just say run it again or stop it in the middle of the play if somebody goes to the ground. Stay on your feet. That's going to happen in an actual game, and your quarterback can be hit. There's real consequences to missing a block here. Missing a block in training camp, the guy just runs by and touches the quarterback, and they blow the play dead. This time, the guy hits the quarterback and takes him to the ground. There are consequences to go along with that. So we'll see what happens this weekend. Kent Swanson, KCSN.substack.com. You listed 5 players that you're most excited to watch this weekend. Did you put them in order of 1 through 5 that you're most excited, or just you dropped 5 names? Because at first I thought it was going to be alphabetical order until I got down to Jaden Hicks breaking up the alphabet there. Because the first 3 are alphabetical order, and then Carson Steele's after that. I'm like, oh, well, no, Jaden Hicks. So are they 1 through 5, or you just listed 5 guys?
I just can't alphabet very good, Jason. No, I honestly, I think it was just, just a little bit scattershot. I just kind of, listed them randomly, but, I think I was going back between, I think it might have started a little bit as a in order type thing, because I did have Kelvin Joseph up there pretty early, but I'm not sure Kelvin Joseph is going to play in that game. Yeah. And he was a player that I was really looking forward to watching, but it seems like he's trending in the direction of not playing. So Najee Johnson was the other one I was kind of considering. And we haven't really got a ton of opportunity to look at. And so that I think that's probably the line I think in there.
So the first name that comes up, whether that's just scattershot or not, but FAU, Felix Udike-Uzama, I think he's had some nice plays at camp. I think he's had sort of a quiet camp at times. And from your perspective, like, what would be reasonable to expect from FAU this year? What's a reasonable thought from rookie to this year, what he could be, what we saw, what the hopeful progression has been, and even from the amount of reps that he's got at training camp and one-on-ones and things like that? What would you think would be reasonable for what FAU could do this year?
A noticeable impact on third downs as a pass rusher. Like, I think that's like my hope, is that this is somebody that can come in and be a rotational, edge rusher that can give you some juice up the arc. It doesn't really seem like we're getting, to see a ton of Felix Udike-Uzama playing with the first team. He's not rotating in with that first team defensive line. He doesn't seem to be someone that's really getting a ton of looks in that regard. And I think it's been a little bit up and down, candidly, for him in this training camp. And I don't know if it's something that I don't think I'm overly thrilled with the progress to this point with what we've seen out of Felix. But, things can obviously change there very quickly. And I think he's a guy that really needs the reps that he's about to get in this game against the Jaguars. I think this is someone that you let play a little bit longer. You give him some significant run here, and let him kind of, gain some confidence potentially against some second-team tackles and try to work some things out in some live reps against another team, because this team really does need him to step up. Year one, I think, is totally fair to, to call it a developmental year, but the bill's coming due on him. this year. You don't have much time after year 2, and they really need to see some progress from him. I'm hopeful that we will get, some impactful plays from Felix Anudike-Uzomah, but, I'm holding my breath a little bit, hoping that is the case.
I'd like to see, if they go with their starters, the, first number of plays, I mean, if Dana's out there or even George Karlaftis, whatever, for a couple of plays, that's fine. Get their feet wet, get a taste of football again, and then let Felix play. And let him go against Cam Robinson, let him go against whoever else that'll be in there, even their second string, and the tackle escapes me from Stanford, the guy that Walker Little. I would have liked to have him a couple of years ago, but he hasn't been a starter, and he's a backup. But I'd just like to, early in the game, I want to see Felix in there against the starting offensive line, because when you say the bill is coming due on him, I look at it twofold. Like, the bill is coming due is spending a first-round draft pick on him in year number 2, that, yeah, you get him controllable for 5 years, but, you need to know what you have going into that 4th year. But the bill's coming due on Karlaftis. And, when you draft a first-round defensive end, you would hope it might give you the luxury of saying, we can't afford Karlaftis, we're paying McDuffie, but we drafted another first-round defensive end in Felix, and it allows us to walk on this guy the way that McDuffie allowed them to walk on L'Jarius Sneed. If McDuffie was Kyer Elam, I don't know that L'Jarius Sneed would be a Tennessee Titan right now. That, to me, like, the bill's coming due, I think, is almost twofold for Felix.
Yeah, I think so too. They need to know what they've got with him for future roster construction purposes, and I think the impact of that first round pick, if he's not able to, play significantly, if he's not able to be a contributing player in a significant way, starting, it just gets more and more difficult as things go on. So, like, I think the impact exists now, but I think, if year 3, year 4 roll around and it's still the same issue, well, yeah, it's just going to get that much more impactful for this team when they're making decisions on the roster.
Yeah, and look, you pointed out in the piece at KC Sports Network, and I think it should be said, like, he just turned 22. Like, in theory, he'd be going into the senior year in college, and instead he's going into his second year in the NFL. So there is a curve. There is, learning that'll go along with that. And there is the element of, you're drafting him young, which is why, he had some of that prospect status of, hey, this guy is really young. So he's going to continue to grow and get better. And hopefully that starts to happen this year. I mean, he developed at K-State. And so I don't see why all of a sudden it would start to stagnate. And also, I think a great sign in that is that, he's willing to put in the work. And working with Tamba and working with Karlaftis, like, we saw what the improvement for Karlaftis was in working with Tamba Hali, working with Frank Clark, his rookie year, and then spending the offseason Karlaftis from rookie to second year with Tamba Hali, and now Felix doing the same thing. Like, to me, that's a positive sign that he's willing to put in that extra work and do some of the things that he saw his teammate do that resulted in positive effects with a guy who was one of the best hand-to-hand combat defensive linemen the Chiefs have seen, ever.
I definitely agree with that, and I think it's good that you are seeing him put in the work, but also it's got to translate at some point too.
Yes. Yep.
And I think where, you hear the way in the phrasing choices of how, Steve Spagnuolo talks about, Felix Anudike-Uzomah, it's stuff that you wish was maybe not necessarily. You thought you would hope is assumed, and they're on to some other stuff here, right? Hey, we need to see some some physicality from him here, and we need to see him get some juice up the arc and all that stuff. It's like, well, yeah, I hope so.
I know, right?
You would hope so at this point, and so I just I'm not trying to look too much into the comments from Steve Spagnuolo, but I think it's they need to see something. I think they're very kind of clearly saying they need to see something from him, and hopefully we get that.
Well, and I don't have the trained eye that maybe a Mitchell Schwartz or a Duke Manyweather or some other defensive ends on the other side of the ball that would be able to tell me what the rep was. But a number of times that I've seen him against Kingsley, and they've matched up a lot in those one-on-ones, Kingsley got the best of him a lot. And I was out there on Friday, and those one-on-ones were happening 15 feet in front of me. And I was, every time it was FAU and Kingsley, I'm like, all right, let's see what happens. And it's like, okay, that was Kingsley. Okay, that one was Kingsley. And I'm like, all right, so is that like a huge positive for Sua Mata'ia? That it's like, oh no, this guy is looking really good. Is it, a negative for Enudike Uzama? I have no idea what to think. And I'm hoping that it's a really, really positive sign for Kingsley, that he just turns out to be this awesome tackle. And that's why Felix was winning minimally in the reps against him. And we go, that makes sense. And look, Felix is still a good player because he was going up against that guy. I hope that's the case. We'll find out. You mentioned Carson Steele. And one of the first things that stood out on the depth chart, we heard Andy Reid say that, well, he's sort of playing both. That fullback, we're seeing if he can do that, and he's showing that he can do that. I mean, I thought Andy might have been done with the fullback, but I guess it's just, I just can't quit you. He needs that. He got to have that fullback. It's like that blanket, that he's always had his whole life. Do you think Carson Steele, if you're guessing right now or leaning one way or another, is Carson Steele part of the 53-man roster as a fullback?
So back in June, I actually put him on the 53-man roster. The way too early 53-man roster projection that I did. I had Keontae Ingram there. I had Keontae Ingram there too. So we
can't win them all.
We can bump the a little bit. Yeah, but I actually I think Steele, like when you were looking at the undrafted free agents that this team got, I looked at Steele, and another one I'm looking at a little bit is Curtis Jacobs, but he seemed like one of the types of undrafted free agents that you can see wind up, making and cracking a roster. Just because this is a really young player, this team wants controlled running back. They need some, cost-controlled running backs on their roster. He's got a skill set that I think this room lacks. He's good as a blocker, pass protector. Yeah, and he's dense enough and strong enough that he could potentially fit any role as a fullback, and the special teams value too. So I think you look at the type of player he is. He seems like someone that could potentially fit into this running back room well. I kind of see him a little bit, not entirely, but there's a little bit of Darrell Williams to him, in my opinion, just because it's a bigger back that has some pass protection ability, that has some capable hands. He's not necessarily going to be running a ton of routes out of the backfield, like a dynamic route tree, but he can catch a swing route, and he can be tough to bring down a little bit here. So I'm buying the Carson Steele making this roster. I think he just fits a role very nicely on this football team. If he's earned the role, or if he's earned the trust of Dave Tobe in a special teams role too, I think that goes a long way for his outlook. I think from a roster construction perspective, I think Carson Steele makes a ton of sense on this roster.
Well, and I would also say that you mentioned Curtis Jacobs there, and that was something that we didn't really talk a lot about in the depth chart, but he's first guy behind Drew Tranquill, and Cam Jones was a guy that was like, all right, Cam Jones showed pretty well last year special teams, but Cam Jones is behind Jack Cochran and Curtis Jacobs right now, and they liked Curtis Jacobs a lot, and right now he's behind Drew Tranquill. That's exciting to me because I like what the prospects of his profile as a player are, because it does feel like Drew Tranquill, and I don't know, maybe it's because they, he wears 23 in the pros, and Drew Tranquill and Curtis Jacobs wore 23 at Penn State. Maybe that's what I'm seeing, but that's what I'm seeing in those two guys.
And I don't think it's difficult to look at Curtis Jacobs and just kind of say, okay, from a it's the same kind of conversation when you're looking at what Curtis Jacobs does. This team doesn't have a ton of athletic linebackers that can play in coverage, and Curtis Jacobs spent a lot of time kind of outside the box as an overhang defender at Penn State, so he's comfortable playing in space. He's got a skill set that really doesn't have a ton of prominence on this roster outside of a Drew Tranquill. So you look at that, he has all the makings of a guy that could be a really impactful special teams player too. He's a guy that has shown comfort playing in space. He's done a great job, blowing up screens out on the edge. So he's a run and chase player with some strength and some power for the size he has. He shouldn't be able to play in space as much as he does. So, that kind of skill set does, lend itself to someone that can make the roster as a linebacker. So, Cam Jones, his skill set's a little bit more narrow when it comes to coverage. So if he's going to be more of a Mike linebacker, well, he's got a lot more competition there. So I think when you're looking at, building a linebacker room, I think that's why Curtis Jacobs is so intriguing to me.
Yeah, and I think he was the 5th or 6th linebacker in the draft in RAS score. So, he's got that ability. He's got what they certainly like, of those players. So, we'll see what ends up happening this weekend. But, yeah, he's a guy that certainly I'll be looking for and watching because he's a guy that continues to get some praise from the coaches as well. So, Kent Swanson, KCSN.substack.com, joining us to break down the Kansas City Chiefs and getting ready for the Jags this weekend. Kent, you're the man as always. Appreciate it, brother. Enjoy the football, and we'll talk in a couple of weeks before they're getting ready for preseason game number 3, where we won't see Patrick Mahomes in the game.
Definitely, he better be just wearing a visor, and hopefully Carson Wentz goes out and balls out.
Yeah. I want the Chiefs to wear their alternate yellow jerseys in the game on Saturday, so that the Jags just instinctually think, oh, yellow jersey, I can't touch it. So that's what I would like to say. That's just smart. That's just, think outside the box from time to time.
I want my quarterback in the third game to look like an SEC head coach. I want the visor. That's what I want.
Eli Drinkwitz Mahomes?
Kirby Smart.
We're already 30 steps ahead of everyone. They all wear red jerseys, but because we're red, we wear the yellow jersey. But if we just wear the red jerseys, we're good.
What does Trevor Lawrence wear? Whatever color Trevor Lawrence is wearing.
Red jersey.
Yeah. Put the blonde mane on Patrick Mahomes, and they'll just instinctually
give him like the Joe Dirt fake
right.
mullet.
That's right. See, we're coming up with ideas here. Patrick Mahomes will not be touched, or they can just block for him. Either one. I'm good with either.
Just let him uncork one Xavier Worthy tomorrow, and then throw a tutty, and then just put the visor on. I'm good with that too.
Call it a day. A one-play drive, 80 yards or whatever it would be with the kickoff. I got to go back and look at the rules again, a 20, 25, 30, or 40, or sometimes I think they may get the ball at the other team's 10. I'm not sure. But however long, wherever they start with the ball, say 22 yards, 78-yard touchdown, and then call it a day and go put a visor on, Patrick. Sound good? Everybody on board? We good? Anybody object? Thumbs up? The ayes have it. Okay, we got it. We won. All right, we passed. That one was with flying, and that was bipartisan, by the way, because we're not all on one side just rooting for the Chiefs. That was totally bipartisan. We went across the aisle. Kent, thank you so much for the time, brother. As always, we'll catch up soon, man.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. There's Kent Swanson, KCSN.substack.com, the KC Laboratory Podcast. Now, I do want to look up Trevor Lawrence and what they wear in camp.
Whenever the airport loses his stuff, it's whatever he gets at the club shop. That's actually what it is.
They wear
That's
the
a
red
deep hole.
jerseys. You're right. Well done. Well
That's
done,
what I'm
Dylan.
saying. I think every team that's not red goes red jersey. It just sticks out more.
Trevor Lawrence is wearing the red jersey. You just have to change Mahomes' number to 16 and put Lawrence on the back.
Yeah. Again, Joe Dirt fake mullet, and we're good.
We were pretty bipartisan there because Dylan is a Washington fan.
Are you?
Washington football team, yeah.
I'm a fan of the name Washington football team.
Oh, I am too. Like, they shouldn't have changed it. The Commanders is a dumb name. They should have changed
it, but not, yeah.
No, that's what I meant.
Yeah, no, I know.
No, they should have changed it, but they should have stayed with Washington football team.
They didn't want to far.
Yeah.
They back-assed their way into Washington football team, which was incredible.
Yes.
It's a great name. They ruined it.
Dude.
Bring back Washington football team.
It's kind of a spit in the, not in the spit in the face of soccer, but it's like a little, I got in the middle of an homage and spit in the face of soccer, saying that we have a football club as well. We can call our football teams or football clubs, things like that. So, I don't know, gives you a little over the seas flair.
I just thought it was funny. Washington football team. I liked it.
Yeah.
Kind of bummed they stopped. Are we done calling the New York Giants the New York Football Giants? Because I always think that's so silly. It's been like 40 years. More than that. San Fran's played. They've been the Giants for a long time.
Yeah. I think it's something that, sort of like you got to say the National Football League instead of NFL.
Or
So
the
you gotta-
Ohio State University.
Yeah, nobody
Things
says
like that. No one says that.
I've always said, like, if you really want to get that university, instead of putting them on probation, just don't allow them to say the before Ohio State for like 3 years.
Or
They'll
IO.
never cheat again.
Or they can't say IO.
OH, IO, OH. Oh, son of a gun! It's immediately like the muzzle comes.
Finable.
Yes, that's right. Just right across the face. It's.
Are those stickers that they put on those helmets just for like making good plays?
Yeah.
Is that what they do?
Yeah.
Why don't we
Get
do
a
it on the
helmet
show?
sticker.
We should on this show.
Get a helmet sticker.
Anytime you make a good point, just sticker.
Oh, I love that idea, by the way.
Fanboy.
Oh, I freaking love that idea.
Fanboy, we need you to buy us some stickers.
Hey, everybody. Hey, market. Sterling, great idea.
Hey, I get a sticker!
He did it. All right, thank you to Kid Swanson, KCSN.subtech.com, joining us, talking some Chiefs football. Adam Teicher will join us in the noon hour. You know what we're going to do with Adam?
Hockey talk.
We're going to talk some hockey. You know, as they say in hockey, let's do that hockey.
Mahomes, the Wayne Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky's maybe the Mahomes of hockey.
That's what everybody says.
Is that what they say?
By the way,
Michael Jordan. But
Ah,
did you, you know what, let's play this clip, oddly enough. This is a great time. Nice job, Sterling. It's like you knew that this clip was in there that I put in yesterday, and I forgot to
that's why I
save.
read books. It's so I can read the your
I
mind.
read about it in a book. So this was the United States take on Serbia today in the semifinals at 1:30, maybe 2:30. 1:30 is the 200-meter final today with Noah Lyles. So later, after that, is U.S.-Serbia in the semifinals, 2 o'clock today for U.S. in the semifinal game. This was against Brazil to make the semifinals, and I put together this little ditty from Dwayne Wade, who's doing the color commentary of the broadcasts, and Dwayne Wade giving a little love to a local legend, star, god, some would say. I don't know.
Embiid stepped up, forced the turnover. James in transition, bounce it. Holiday. Oh! Holiday gets upstairs. I don't know if I knew he had that.
Oh, he got that. Oh, he got that.
With the left hand,
That
too.
was nice. That was nice. Quarterback Bron is out.
And here's that beautiful look from LeBron James.
From half court, as we keep saying. He's quarterbacking everything.
Lob it towards the rim. Oh! It's Tatum flying through the air.
I told you. Patrick Mahomes.
Besides the name being a little bit wrong,
You call me Holmes?
Patrick Mahomes. But yeah, so they were talking. My brother was texting me. They were talking the first half, like almost every assist for LeBron. Those were the ones I could quickly find yesterday. But like every assist for LeBron, Dwayne Wade's like, he's quarterbacking today. All right, it's quarterback James, LeBron the quarterback today, and that's what he was doing on Tuesday was just dishing out assists everywhere. And then the half court sort of no look to Steph that he was talking about from half court, and then the halftime. Half-court, out-of-bounds alley-oop to Jason Tatum that went right over the defender's hand, and Jason Tatum caught it, dunked it, and that's that last play. I told you, Patrick Me Holmes. Me home. Hey, is anybody here? Me home. Every day at like 2:30. I
Is that
say
what you do?
Yeah,
Patrick
me home.
Mahomes.
Patrick Me Holmes.
Patrick Mahomes.
But I do love that that's the quarterback that he says. Not Lamar, because even though Lamar was ranked number 1. It's quarterback LeBron today. Quarterback James. Patrick Mahomes is out there just throwing the basketball around. And we'll see Patrick James.
Patrick Mahomes.
LeBron Mahomes
Patrick Mahomes.
today against Serbia. You know that's got to love the Chiefs. That's got to make the Chiefs lovers and Patrick Mahomes lovers that hate LeBron. That's got to make them feel happy, right? They got to really appreciate that.
I got one here.
Yep.
Country roads take Country roads take.
Patrick Mahomes.
Oh no, you gotta cut off the Patrick. You gotta cut off the Patrick.
Gotta
Dylan.
cut the Patrick, Dylan.
Yeah, you gotta cut Patrick.
You gotta
Gotta
cut Patrick
out of this.
All right, we're gonna get it.
Let's try it one more time.
Get it.
Everybody, all right, erase that. We'll you know what? We'll take care of this in post.
John Denver. Yeah, because this is not live or anything.
Nope.
John Denver. Here we go. Country roads take.
Mahomes.
Yeah, that is great, guys. Well done. I think we did a really good job here today, guys.
yeah, hopefully you don't get a copyright strike.
Yeah,
First take.
I think we did a good thing today, guys. I really do.
That's a sticker.
So what do? We just pass that over to Seren now? Does
I mean,
he
do you
take
think
over?
they can even tell the difference between John Denver and Sterling?
No, they can't.
I don't know if I should have
No, they're
recorded
both
that.
full of bleep, according to.
Farva.
Oh, the show has been called Dumb and Dumber before, but who knows? Not sure. But I mean,
I could pull up
what's
a
high,
John Denver.
What's
look.
high score mean? Did we break it? Can we not play anymore? I don't know. What's high score mean?
Wow.
Very underrated movie.
Do
Grandma's
we know
Boy.
what John Denver's real name was?
Jeff.
Henry John Duchendorf.
Oh yeah, Hank Duchendorf, old man Duchendorf's son. Right?
Duchendorf.
Did you know that, Dylan?
No.
I had no idea.
I didn't know
I-
there was a
I
Hank
assumed it
Williams
wasn't
and Jr.
Denver,
situation going
but,
on, but yeah, that's cool.
Is Hank Williams' real name John?
No, I'm just saying,
Oh.
like a father-son kind of thing. Yeah.
All right. There you go. Did you know there's a Hank Williams Jr.?
I didn't know that.
That's
No.
crazy. Did you know there's a Bobby Witt?
And a junior.
Oh. Was it...
Next you're going to tell me King Griffey Jr.'s dad played Major League Baseball, and they hit a home run back-to-back. Of course you're going to tell me that.
That'd be dumb. Nobody's ever done that before. By the way, I think it was Mick Schaefer that said, can you imagine what Bobby Witt III is going to look like? How good that guy's going to be? Also, did you see his darts-only mix?
Oh, yeah, with the
Darts-only.
Colorado. So,
But
there
mixed,
were so many I
did
couldn't.
you see mixed darts only, though?
yeah,
No.
Mix was great. Mix
It
was electric.
He showed Salvi swinging and then cut to Vinny Pasquantino's home run in right field. It was darts only. And Salvi obviously did not hit it to right field.
He hit a foul ball. You see the
It
ball
was
go
just like
back.
The ball goes backwards, and then it's Vinny Pasquantino's home run to right field. Like, these darts only are phenomenal, dude. They are fantastic. I wish I knew how to do the video editing like that, because I would love to do some of those myself. I don't even know what I can't even start because I can't do the video editing. If it's radio editing and the audio medium, I can do that. But the video stuff has just been awesome. If you don't know what we're talking about, darts only on X, probably Instagram as well, maybe some TikToks, I'm not sure. The Colorado Buffaloes and Shadir Sanders threw a deep pass down the sideline, and they have the shot from behind Sanders. Throws a deep pass down the sideline that is clearly falling incomplete. Clearly falling incomplete. Nobody within 10 yards. That thing is going to fall on the grass and bounce. But as it's on its descent towards the grass, it cuts to a close-up of Hunter catching the ball in the end zone like he's on a crossing route, and then looks in the camera and starts celebrating as if that was the pass that Sanders threw to Hunter for the touchdown. And it has gotten the appropriate response that people are looking at it going, this is the dumbest cut. Do they not have a continuity director?
It's the Let's Ride of this season.
It's the Let's Ride. It's a
That's right.
good call. You know
Yes.
what, Dylan?
Broncos
you
country.
get a sticker.
Broncos country. You can't just give out stickers willy-nilly. We'll run out of stickers, okay? You got to have – the stickers are a good play. You can't just make a tackle and get a sticker. I'm not saying that Dylan doesn't get a sticker for that. I'm just saying let's
I feel
call
like
him.
I get a sticker for coming up with the sticker idea.
That's
And-
fine.
And
You've got
I feel
that.
Like, and I feel like I get a sticker for the Country Roads take.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You
You
don't
don't
do that.
hand out your own stickers.
Yeah, you can't get your own
earn
sticker.
stickers.
You earned the first one. You're the only one with the sticker right
Okay.
now. Why do you want everybody else to have a sticker just as many as you?
I get 2, you all get 1.
No, you get one.
2-1-0.
What part of this are you not understanding?
The sticker part. It's the sticker part.
How you earn it. It's going to be so subjective. It's got to be subjective, but not your subjectivity. 'cause
We
I
need
feel like
like
you're just handing
listeners
them out
to. We need
like
listeners
Halloween
to,
candy.
You know what we do?
Like
Listeners,
caramellos. You're just handing them
I
out like
love
caramellos. Anthony's.
We need listeners to all of a sudden. If we ever get a sticker, we need a listener to be like, yeah, he gets a sticker. That's what we need. We need objectivity here.
Well, we're listeners. What if Fanboy can be the judge, jury, and executioner? He's the arbiter of stickers. He's
Sticker
our
guy.
sticker governor.
Sticker guy.
Yeah, sticker guy.
Sticker guy.
All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue rolling. Adam Teicher. We'll talk with him coming up at noon. And Sports or Leisure, 1 o'clock. More Zone next. Royals getting the win last night against the Red Sox. They get ready for a 2-game set against their cross-state rivals, the St. Louis Cardinals, coming into town. And Vinny saying last night, hey, Cardinals coming into town, let's pack the house. It will be packed because it's typically a sellout on both sides of the state line when these games are played. 2 less games than should be played this year for the Royals and Cardinals.
I missed when it was 2-2, when it was like 2 games in a row, and then you would just it's a 3.5-hour drive
for the 4-game set. Well,
Yes.
next year's 3-3. Next year there's actually 6 games, and it's 2 3-game sets. And the 2-game series, like last year, has created this odd scheduling quirk where the Royals get Sunday off. They were, I think the last 2 years, I think baseball gives them a choice of what day off for a weekend series they can get. And both times the Royals chose Sunday. Because last year they had a Sunday off with the St. Louis Cardinals 2-2. And I think they chose Sunday both times. Because you would choose the Sunday off rather than Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. All right, we're going to give you Friday night off. Okay, well, then we got a game tomorrow and Sunday. Let's take Sunday off. And then, now, Friday off would have been nice because it's Friday off and then you would have home games.
Sure.
As opposed to Sunday off and you got a road trip heading to Minnesota. But it does give you time to chill, relax, get acclimated, whatever, and get ready for that big series against Minnesota. Because right now, Minnesota and Cleveland are playing each other. Minnesota's got a massive number of games coming up because they got the Guardians and then the Royals.
Yep.
Back-to-back series for the Twins.
The only thing I like better than when the Royals beat the Yankees or when the Royals beat the Cardinals. This is the series I look to. I'm a man who went to the University of Missouri. This is huge. I have so many friends who are Cardinals fans. This is a battle for Missouri now.
And how you feel about that. I'm in agreement, by the way. But with your college friends, like how you feel about that is how I feel about when Missouri and Nebraska would play each other in the Big 12. Because half my fraternity is from Nebraska. So, like, everybody not from Nebraska was in the minority. Because it was like Kansas and Missouri and Iowa, and then the other half, Nebraska. And not everybody on the non-Nebraska side rooted for Missouri. It was a big deal. Luckily, I went there when they were punking Nebraska.
They're still punking Nebraska.
Love you, Huskers. The people I know. Sports Radio 810 WHB. An hour from now, we'll play a little sports or leisure. Right now, let's talk some Kansas City Chiefs football. 2 days away from them putting on the jerseys and pads in a game, preseason or not, since we saw them walk off the 49ers in overtime in Vegas. Adam Teicher joining us from ESPN, presented by Twin Peaks. Step up your lunch game at Twin Peaks. Adam, welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
Good, Jason. How are you doing today?
I am doing just fine. When do you travel to Jacksonville? Are you going for preseason or just watching it on the tube like the rest of us?
Not for preseason.
So I couldn't remember if you did or not. Yeah,
I will be in front of the TV. Yeah,
right.
yeah. But a lot of interesting stuff going on there for sure.
Well, it's on 38 the spot, not 41. So Mick Shea for being a friend.
I will have to remember that.
Yes, he's trying to get the word out there because he knows there's going to be about 15,000 phone calls because of the Olympics that they are not allowed to preempt anything for the Olympics on NBC, which makes sense. Before we get into some of the things about this weekend or contracts, this is just sort of a general observation from you in that from the time they went to camp and reported to now, the practices are over before the first preseason game. Has anything sort of stood out to you in that time that you were looking to see? Or it doesn't even have to be a surprise, but just things that you've gleaned that maybe have stood out the most from observations in these first couple of weeks leading into our first chance to see them in a real game or a preseason game.
Yeah, well, the thing that stood out to me was really the Chiefs' emphasis on getting the ball down the field, and we kind of knew they were going to do that because they signed two guys who were pretty good at that, or drafted one and signed another. But I was unaware to the emphasis of that, and I think we talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
Mahomes has been just a little bit of a different guy to me in camp this year. I mean, his resolve with Xavier Worthy, particularly early in camp, was really eye-opening to me. There was the comment about, hey, we're not waiting for him. I mean, he's got to be ready to go. He's got to be ready to go now. And then you remember that first practice where Mahomes threw a pass and Worthy dropped it, and it turns out he jammed his finger or something,
Mm-hmm.
so he went to the sideline and all that, and Mahomes grabbed the ball, and he was the one who went over there when he put his glove back on, and everything was looking like he was okay. Mahomes was the one. The starting quarterback was the guy, the two-time NFL MVP, was over there throwing the ball to him going, hey, kid, you're okay, and I'm going to prove it to you right here by throwing you a few passes, and you're going to come back out there, and we're going to continue what we got going on here. I mean, his resolve in getting Worthy the ball, that pass that, was a big deal early in camp where he sort of hit Worthy on that deep post pattern. He looked like he'd made up his mind before the snap. This is where I'm going with the ball. So he's really resolved to make this thing work. And they've very few of the practices where Mahomes hasn't tried going down the field for Worthy at least once during practice. And they don't hit on all these. I mean, we're not suggesting they do, but his resolve in this regard to making that work and not having to go through a growing process or as much maybe of a growing process as they had to with Rice last year, that's evident. He's doing what he can, I think, to sort of speed up the process.
In your estimation, in watching these, how many of these throws deep down the field to Xavier and Hollywood are throws that are, in the course of the play, reading the defense, guys win in their matchup, and this is the shot we're taking right here to Xavier? And how many do you think it's, well, in a game I'm probably throwing it over there, but I'm hitting Xavier Worthy in practice right now to see what we have and to get up to speed on that? How much do you think there's that mix of that, yeah, they're going deep, but it's because those guys are winning, and this is a big part of the game plan now?
Yeah, no, a lot of it is he's throwing the ball to Worthy, just seeing what happens.
Mm-hmm.
There have been a couple times where he's been well covered and it wasn't there, and you had a feeling that in a game he's not going to be throwing that ball, or he's going somewhere else with it. But in practice, you can tell he's trying to see what's what here, and can he win a contested ball, and can he outrun the defenders if I just put it out there? I mean, I think there's been a lot of that. So yes, I don't think we're going to see this constantly in the games like we have been in the preseason or in the training camp, but you can tell he's really testing the waters here and seeing what he's got there.
Adam Teicher from ESPN is our guest. Harrison Butker signs the new contract. He's the highest paid kicker in the NFL. Is this a no-brainer, right? I don't want to have a leading question. Is this a no-brainer to you to get this done with Harrison Butker?
Yeah, well, you look at what he's done over the years in terms of clutch kicks, both in the regular season and particularly in the playoffs, and you can trust him, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're the Chiefs, you don't really have any doubt about whether he's going to make a kick or not. And then, if you're the Chiefs, again, you're trying to win a championship. And that's probably not a position you want to skimp on. You don't want to go into overtime or trying to get to overtime against Buffalo in the playoffs like they were a couple of years ago, needing a long kick. You don't want to wonder about that. You want a guy you can trust. And so, yeah, I think this was a good place for them to spend their money. I mean, kind of an interesting choice that's where they went first for the group of guys who were up at the end of next year. But still, I don't think this is, I do think this is a good choice. They can get away with going cheap at punter, with going with a young guy and doing that way. But I don't think it's a good idea to go with an untested guy or try to save money at that particular spot. So, yes, I think this was a good move.
Yeah, I don't remember, and the Titans, before Patrick Mahomes took over, Butker missed a field goal or maybe a couple field goals in that game. They lost by one, but he did miss a field goal there. And it's not like he has been perfect in the postseason. I remember, the last time, Patrick Mahomes had We good, Dylan? We good now? What happened? We there? We there? Adam, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, great. I'm not sure what happened, but I don't remember the last time he's not perfect in the postseason, but I don't remember him missing a clutch kick. In fact, you mentioned Buffalo, and it jumps in my mind that one of the things about that kick against the Bills and people being a little bit annoyed that they were in that spot is because he had missed a field goal and an extra point in that game, and they were down by 3, and you're like, well, I mean, that's 4 points. And he steps up and hits a 49-yarder. It wasn't just a chip shot. He had how many guys in that situation have already missed a field goal and an extra point, and Mahomes did what he did, and then he steps up and hits that field goal. So it's not even just like he's making them. It's that there's a confidence level that's there when he's kicking it that I don't know that I've ever felt with a kicker at any point in my life, and that would just be regular season games too. These are postseason games, and you make it or your season is over.
Yeah, and even a shorter field goal, like the one in the Super Bowl against Philadelphia that won the game. Hey, a lot of guys could have made a 27-yarder to win the game. I think most kickers NFL kickers probably would have. But do you really trust just anybody in that situation? I think you feel better with the guy who's been there and done that. So, I don't think this would have been a good place for the Chiefs to say, we can save a few bucks here. I think this was the right choice there.
And I think it's a good point about cheap punters and pay the kicker. They did it with Dustin Colquitt. He was coming up for more money. They move on to Tommy Townsend. Tommy Townsend's getting more money. They gave him the contract last year, but it wasn't what Tommy Townsend wanted. He wanted more money. They move on to Matt Araiza, and we looked the other day at the average Harrison Butker to the average kicker in the NFL. And it was a difference of like 3 extra points over the course of the season. It was a difference of like 4 field goals over the course of the season. But what really stood out is that the average, finishing 16th in the NFL, that player was 5 of 12 from 40-plus yards. And Harrison Butker's 12 of 12 from 40-plus yards. Harrison Butker was perfect from 50 yards or more. That particular player was like under 500, under 50% from 50 or more yards. Like, it's that element, whereas the average punter, which, by the way, was Tommy Townsend last year, he was 16th in yards per punt, and he was 15th in net yards per punt. So, right in the middle. The difference is like 3 yards per punt in net yards. And he averages 3.5 punts per game. 9 yards in a game difference total in an entire game in punting versus having Butker where the end of that Baltimore game, you get a touchdown taken off the board because of a BS holding call against Trey Smith that would have been Rashee Rice, that screen pass for a touchdown. And then you got to settle for a 50-some-odd yard field goal, and he buries it. And that could have been disaster if you take a touchdown off the board and then miss a field goal.
Yep. And he was what last year? 6 of 6 or 7 of 7? I forget which, but one of the two from beyond 50 yards. I mean, Pat Mahomes kind of said, "Hey, we feel pretty good. We get to the 50-yard line, we've got at least 3 points." And he's kind of right.
Yeah.
I mean, the Chiefs are getting into that neighborhood, and Harrison Butker is on a Hall of Fame track here. I mean, he's second all time in field goal percentage, and he's got all these clutch kicks that, other than Adam Vinatieri and maybe some other one or two other guys, I mean, a lot of guys just don't have on their resume. So he's definitely on a Hall of Fame track, and I can see him getting there. And to call it a no-brainer, I think it was. I mean, I don't think you want to be taking chances at that spot if you're the Chiefs.
Yeah, he was last year. He was 5 of 5 from 50 or more yards. His career in the postseason, he's 6 of 7 from 50 or more yards. So
he hit that 60-some yarder
right.
last year too. So
That's
I think
right.
he was 6 of 6 if I'm not mistaken from beyond 50. So yeah, he's he is kind of money there, and you're right. He hasn't been perfect, but you don't expect anybody to be. But boy, when they've needed him, he sure has been there.
Absolutely. Adam Teicher from ESPN is our guest. You mentioned it was interesting that he's the first one that got done, and we'd been talking about Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, Nick Bolton. Is he the first one that they got done because of maybe priority, or maybe it was the easier one to get done because it was a lesser contract, or is he the one that got done because he was the one they could get done right now, that maybe it's a little more difficult with Creed, or Trey Smith wants to wait to the end of the year? Nick Bolton's already said he wants to wait till this season's over because he wants to have a healthy year, a rough start in training camp for that to be the case. But was this a priority, you think, just because, hey, let's make him number one, get out of the way, or he's the first one because that may be a sign of what's going on with Creed and Trey and Nick?
Yeah, I mean, this was going to be the easier one to do, no doubt about it. I mean, from the financial standpoint, this is not, going to be the strain that any of those other contracts is going to be on the Chiefs. So, yeah, I mean, that's the interesting question. Is this it for the Chiefs, and they end up walking on all those guys, or do they end up keeping one or more of them? So, yeah, I mean, and they've got plenty of time on this. So, not urgent. You'd like to, if you're the Chiefs, certainly get at least one more guy done before the start of the season. Take away some of the bite on the future salary cap hits by doing it now. Yeah. But it doesn't mean that it's going to happen. So. Going to be an interesting thing to see how this, how the Chiefs prioritize and whether they can get anything done here.
How do you think they'll prioritize those three guys? If you rank them 1 through 3 in the Chiefs' priorities to get something done to a contract extension, a second contract.
Yeah, well, they're all good players, but Creed Humphrey has just been a different guy. You don't see many guys like Creed Humphrey. He came to the Chiefs. And he just had the look of a guy who'd already been in the league 5 or 6 years. There was no deer in the headlights. There was nothing with him. I mean, he was a ready-made guy from the day he stepped through the door. And Trey Smith was close. I mean, it's not a whole lot different with him. But, boy, there weren't what you'd call growing pains, other than maybe the problems he's had with some of his snaps over the years. But other than that, he's just been everything the Chiefs could have hoped for and more. So, that's a tough position, or can be a tough position to find somebody. I think that's the guy they should prioritize. As far as a number 2, the Chiefs got into a peak in. The Chiefs got a peek into a world without Nick Bolton last year when he didn't play, and it worked out okay. I mean, they didn't. They didn't fall apart without him. It's one thing to do that for a stretch of a few games. It's another to do it for a season or more than one season. So I don't know that you should necessarily draw any definitive conclusions from what you saw last year. But still, the Chiefs operated at a really high level without him, and and in a perfect world, you keep him. But I just feel like Trey Smith has been such a great player for them, and that I think they should make him the number 2 priority here, and then Bolton's certainly third. That's a guy in a perfect world you'd keep around, but they may or may not be able to do that. So that's how I'd do it. But they may feel differently about it because guys like Bolton are hard to find too. They're just they don't come along very often.
The Creed Humphrey thing is interesting because we were looking at the guard contracts and the center contracts and sort of looking at it traditionally from what the current numbers are, and center is clearly more reasonable and less expensive than the guard market is right now, but that doesn't mean that that's what Creed Humphrey's going to want, and I wonder do you think Creed Humphrey, we know he's going to reset the center market in contract, but does he reset the center market like Aaron Donald reset the defensive tackle market, that there was such a wide gap that it was like, oh my God, like obviously not $30 million, but if we're talking about $13 million for like Cushenberry and are we looking at like 18, for Creed Humphrey, that he wants to reset it that way to where, hey, you think I'm the best interior offensive lineman? Okay, well, I'm a center. Not only am I interior offensive lineman, I snap the ball. He needs to be better at it, more consistent at it. But I snap the ball. I need to be getting more money than a guy who's just a right guard or a left guard. Give me $20 million if you want to re-sign me, because centers shouldn't be so much cheaper than guards. I wonder if Creed sees this as an opportunity to, really, really get paid and not just say, oh, I'm resetting the center market at $14 million.
Yeah, well, he could, and I'm wondering if that point the Chiefs pivot and say, thanks for your time here, Creed, but we're moving on here. So yeah, they certainly he certainly could try to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that necessarily that would be he'd get that, but anywhere else, much less here. But that might be the strategy, and somebody might do it. Maybe the Chiefs do it, but. I do feel like he will. I agree, though, he will set the center market, and deservedly so.
It's just a matter of at what price will he want to do that.
Yep.
Adam Teicher from ESPN is our guest, presented by Twin Peaks. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. One more segment with Adam. We'll get his thoughts on the unofficial depth chart, anything that stands out there, and then what we'll be looking for on Saturday against the Jags for the Chiefs. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. the Chiefs and the Jags. The depth chart released. Let's talk about what Andy Reid was asked about yesterday. A fullback, huh? Adam, there's a fullback on the roster. It took Andy Reid, 1 year to go with that fullback to be like, you know what, let's get number 42 back in the mix here.
Yeah, I don't know that he's going to keep one this year or not, but they have been looking at Carson Steele a little bit at fullback. Yeah. The thing about him is he's got a little wiggle to him when he runs the ball. I mean, he's not just some big plow horse. I mean, he can make a guy miss too. So he's been kind of interesting, and he's been working at tailback as well, at running back as well. So he's one of the guys who's on my list. I really want to see what he looks like on Saturday night because he's a guy who could worm his way into a roster spot. I don't think the Chiefs will keep 4 running backs, including a fullback, and then four at tight end also. So I think he's going to have to win a job as a third running back, and then they can use him in a fullback role if they choose. But I don't sense they'll keep 8 players at those 2 position groups.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, and we'll see. It's enticing. I mean, I liked the signing of Carson Steele out of college, out of UCLA, to see what he could do. And one of the thoughts was, maybe they move him to fullback, and if he's a guy that can catch the ball out of the backfield, can pick up some short yardage runs, can give Pacheco's legs and body a little bit of a rest on a yard or 2 yards to go, and you give it to that guy on the interior part of that offensive line, then maybe you can pick some things up. I liked it from that aspect. But, yeah, I'm with you. Can they keep 4 running backs? Can they keep 4 tight ends? Or can they keep 4 running backs and then also a fullback? I don't see that happening. Certainly, Andy Reid also mentioned, special teams for Carson Steele, and whether that's covering kicks or covering punts, what have you. I'm wondering, you've been at every single practice there at training camp. Kickoffs are going to be something that we watch a lot during training camp. We've seen 1 game with some kickoffs. We'll see a couple of games tonight, so there'll be 3 games with kickoffs, and then we'll watch Saturday with the Chiefs and Jags. How much do you guys – I know they do some kickoff drills, but how much can you take away from, what it's going to look like in an actual game based on drills where they're not bringing guys to the ground, right? They're not, necessarily, going 100% full speed. So how much do you think it would be maybe different from the people like yourself that have been up there watching every single second of practice to actually see it in real time and see it in a game, these kickoffs?
No, it'll be different. There's no doubt. And it'll be different for the Chiefs. I mean, they just haven't gone full speed on these things. I mean, they try to somehow replicate what it's going to look like, but they just can't do it, and that's the thing about practice. That's why these games are kind of important. So I would pay it, I'm going to pay attention on Saturday night to who's out there on the kick return and the kick cover teams. Now that they can always make switches here, but I think we're getting kind of late in the game already. I mean, you want to know what you've got and get these guys working together. So I think maybe it's going to mean a little more on the kick cover and the kickoff return teams, who's out there for those snaps, for those plays. And, again, doesn't necessarily mean everybody who's out there is going to make the team or is leading a position race or something. But they're going to want to nail down what they've got here sooner rather than later on those things.
Yeah. Anybody else that maybe you're going to be looking at? You mentioned that Carson Steele is a guy that you'll be watching for on Saturday, and then saying there, paying attention to the return and the coverage teams is to see, what they look like, who's actually out there on those teams. Anybody else that'll be, circled and highlighted for you to watch on Saturday?
Oh, absolutely. Kingsley Suamataia is maybe number 1 on the list. I think that's a guy who, facing live competition for the first time. I know the Chiefs are really eager to see what he's got and how he handles things. So, that's definitely a guy. Deneric Prince. I mean, he's been getting a really good look in practice. He's, getting a lot of the second team snaps. Sometimes they're putting Clyde Edwards-Helaire in third in drills, and Edward Solaire, you feel for him with the PTSD that he's got going on, but he's had to miss a few practices. Can the Chiefs count on him to be ready to go when the season starts? And they got to have somebody who can take some pressure off Pacheco, and so that's a guy. And Carson Steele's another one that I'm really eager to see how he handles things. I think Prince will probably get a pretty good look in. Saturday night's game. Nico Remigio, can he be a fifth or sixth receiver and handle all the special teams stuff the Chiefs are going to ask of him? Can he handle all that stuff adequately? And then, on defense, mostly on the back end, I'm looking at guys. But, Jaden Hicks has had a really nice camp. He's kind of been a playmaker back there for the Chiefs. And they're doing a lot of different things with him. So that's a guy that I think I'm going to be looking at Saturday night to see how he handles things. And Najee Johnson as well at corner, how he does, because he didn't get to play last season in the preseason. So, those are probably the two guys on defense that I would be wanting to look at as well.
The depth chart at wide receiver has been talked about because of, one, Justin Ross being where he is, but also Kadarius Toney being where he is. I asked this purposefully in this manner. Do you have a clear picture of how the Chiefs view Kadarius Toney, Adam, and your love of clear pictures at training camp?
I was it only me when Andy Reid when Kadarius Toney first got hurt a week or so ago when he had that ankle injury, whenever that was it only me who thought I detected a little bit of what's the word, impatience in Andy Reid's voice when he was talking about Kadarius Toney, and I've not really heard that from him. He was like, well, yeah, he needs to get out there. I mean, every day he misses, it's a setback, and I never really heard him talk in those terms. So I'm wondering if the Chiefs aren't getting to that point with him. There really hasn't been much from him when he has been on the field that would lead you to believe that he's going to have a big season or be a big part of things. So I just don't know. I mean, I thought he was going to make it heading into camp, but I just haven't seen it with him. And now he's on his second injury of camp already. Mm-hmm. And so you wonder, I mean, I told you the Chiefs are going to come to a point with him where they're just going to say enough's enough. And I can't tell you they've got there, but I sense that they're getting close to that point. So, I think it's pretty clear the Chiefs are going to keep their top four guys, Hollywood, Worthy, Rice, and Justin Watson. And I think it's really going to be interesting to see which way they go for those what's going to probably be two extra spots. They've got a lot of different kind of guys between Hardman and Sky Moore and Justin Ross and Remigio and Toney. I mean, I think those are the guys that are probably competing for those jobs. And they've got a lot of different kind of guys there. And so which way do they go? I think those decisions are going to be interesting.
Patrick Mahomes said yesterday, it is what it is. I just go and play the game. The rankings are the rankings for the NFL top 100, him being number 4. Do you think in his mind it is what it is?
No, I don't think it is what it is. And I think we'll see him counting to 4, maybe even during the Baltimore game, because the Baltimore quarterback is, number 2 on that list, I think. Yep, so maybe he will. So, no, I don't think it's good with him. No.
Yeah. How much do you like? Mitchell Schwartz has come out and said that give no credence to this. We get it in like week 14. Some guys put their friends' names on there. They've got to list every single helmet so people remember who all's in the NFL, different teams. Some guys write a couple of names and that's it. And then they take all of that and they come up with their top 100. So yeah, there's certainly a grain of salt to be taken with it. I do wonder how much it'd be like, whether it's jealousy or spite or just simply, you know what, bleep that. I'm not putting him number 1 or number 2. Like, the guy's winning everything. I'll put Lamar up there or Tyreek or Christian McCaffrey or whoever. And it's like, okay, well, he wasn't having a good year in week 14. All right, well, Aaron Rodgers played 3 snaps. And he's in the top 100. So I do wonder how much it's just like, some guys in the NFL, they're like, bleep it. I'm not putting him up there at the top. And if it's jealousy, spite, whatever it might be, envy that, not doing it. Like Jamar Chase won't even say his name, let alone write him down at number 1.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't this is not a scientific operation here. I mean, this is about as seat of the pants as you can imagine this being. And so I think Mitchell Schwartz is absolutely right about, you should take this with a grain of salt. And so if he's first or fourth, I mean, what does it really matter in the big picture? I mean, it's fun to talk about for sure, but the way they come up with these is not. There's way better methods than the ones they use.
Yeah, my idea would be you hand them a piece of paper and have them vote 2 through 20. Because we can't trust you with number one. Number one's already taken care of. We can't trust you with number one. We know who number one is. You give us 2 through 20, and we'll rank the rest of them after that. Okay, you don't get to touch the hot stove anymore. You've done it too many times. All right, and now you haven't learned from it.
And that is a point. I mean, if players voted after the Raiders game on Christmas Day last year, I don't know that I would have had them, in the top 5 or whatever. If that's the game that's fresh in my mind, So, it's done before the postseason starts, so it's done at probably not a great time of year either. So it's just a weird deal that, but it is fun to talk about.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you get a little insight as well as how everyone was feeling with him having a down year into Sean Gibson's mic'd up in the Super Bowl, saying that he's a regular-ass quarterback and we're going to make him look regular. So
regular.
I think a lot of people, when they did the vote, were very happy to jump on the bandwagon of, boy, he's having an off year. This is the time to get him.
But it does also speak to his greatness in that an off year we're complaining that he was number 4 in the entire league.
Exactly.
After having a bad
and if you're the Chiefs, don't you go to the league or whoever compiles this and say, hey, can you bump him down a few spots?
Make him 8.
We want him pissed.
He was 8 one time,
him pissed off. Yeah, we want him pissed off. So can you do that for us? Here's $50. Take care of that for us, will you?
That would be great. It's like I said, like last year when it was the anonymous coaches scouting reports on different players, and it was a, quote, defensive play caller that said Mahomes is still a street baller, that his first read isn't there, and then he panics. And I'm like, yeah, Steve Spagnuolo said that. Like they're playing chess, not checkers. All right?
There you go.
That was Steve Spagnuolo's commentary to him. Adam Teicher from ESPN is our guest. Or just hand out a survey and say, number one, who would you start your NFL team with? You can pick anybody right now for your team to start it. Who would you take? 100%. Patrick Mahomes. Across the board, it'd be Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
But, that's fine. He's number 4, all good. Adam Teicher from ESPN, all good, always with you. Enjoy the game on Saturday, and we will talk next week, getting ready for preseason game number 2. Thank you for the time, as always, brother. We'll talk to you then.
All right, looking forward to it, Jason.
Absolutely. There's Adam Teicher from ESPN, presented by Twin Peaks. Chiefs-Jags coming up on Saturday there in Jacksonville on 38 The Spot. And also NFL Network. But not in town NFL Network because it's going to black out NFL Network in town, so it'll just be 38 The Spot. Yes, you should.
Text or tweet at Mick Schaefer?
Well, I asked him last night, like he was getting texts or tweets, and I understand why he's doing that. It's smart just to make sure you get out ahead of it. 38 The Spot, 38 The Spot. But I tweeted him, I'm like, hey, do you know if the NFL Network is going to play the local Chiefs broadcast, or will it be the Jags? Like, is it the home team? Do you know about that? Thanks for the update. Love the show. I'll listen off the air. No response.
I have one in the drafts ready for Saturday with him tagged, KSHB tagged. That I can't find the game, and I don't want to be watching the Olympics. I need to be, and I'm just gonna kind of put that out right as the game starts for him, Mick.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do that on Sunday. Hey, Mick, I'm having trouble finding the game. It's Sunday at noon. I can't find it.
Chiefs always play Sunday at noon. Is this not on 41? What's the deal? Oh man, yeah, that's. You know what? And I bet he'll appreciate it. I bet he'll really enjoy that and just embrace the comedic relief. I bet that'll just roll off his back like water on a duck. It'd be just fine.
That's why I'm doing it. I think he'll really enjoy it.
Ducks do have feathers, though. I feel is that surprising? Water off a duck's back. They have feathers. You're shocked that it doesn't just, the moisture doesn't get there.
Well, if it's already too moist, then it's not going to be able to, it's just
Hold
like your hair.
Yeah.
I mean, you put a little bit of water in your hair, it holds the water. You drench it, the water is going to be dripping from your hair. You know this.
Why'd you take a shot at Dylan right there?
I didn't. I was looking right at you, at your hair.
Yeah.
Your lovely coiffed lettuce. That's
Thank
up there.
you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back and continue rolling. At 1 o'clock, we got some sports or leisure. Give you an update to the Olympics, what's going on in basketball. Team USA underway an hour and 20 minutes from now. Coming up in about 45 minutes from now, Noah Lyles will be going for the twofer, the 100-meter and the 200-meter gold. He goes for the 200-meter gold coming up about 45 minutes from now. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. The French national team knocked off Germany in the semifinals in basketball. So the winner of the U.S. and Serbia today at 2 o'clock will face off against France in the gold medal game. So let's go Team USA, take care of business, and then go take care of France. And the women will just keep cruising.
Yeah.
They've won, 56 straight games in Olympic competition? Women's basketball, 8 straight golds. Like what? I mean,
it's getting a little closer. I mean, like, they're winning, but it's no longer like 60-point blowouts as often.
This one was like what, 25?
As often. Yeah, that's my point. It's getting a little less.
Yeah. If you want to watch the U.S. women's basketball team, 8 o'clock Sunday when the gold medal match will be, gold medal game will be. I believe it's the last competition of the Olympics, is the women's basketball gold medal game. So the U.S. women will be able to walk off and end the Olympics with a gold medal as the final before the closing ceremony. That'll be a Sunday morning. I think they tip off at like 8 o'clock in the morning. By the way.
How have we not come up with a worldwide Olympic ruling of either 3-2-1 or 4-2-1 for Olympic medals? How is it just...
What do you mean 4-2-1?
Points.
Oh, like a point system.
How is it just overall medals and then gold and then...
Well, the United States winning in both, so...
Well, they were down 1 to China in gold.
Since when? Last night they were leading.
Since 30 minutes ago. I don't know if it's changed.
Well, I haven't updated it today, so...
Yeah, they're down 1 to China in gold.
No, they probably cheated to get it, so...
My point is, why have we not come up with a 4-2-1 or a 3-2-1 point system? I'm befuddled by this. We have the technology.
Yeah, so China's at 28 gold medals. The United States has 27. Silver medals, the U.S. has 35. China has 25. And bronze medals, the U.S. has 33. China has 17. For a medal count of 95 for the U.S. and 70 for China.
But my point is...
They're like Jack Nicklaus. They have the most majors and most runner-ups in golf history.
My point is, though, I also understand how Team USA, baby. If I'm going to be rocking
totally
all USA stuff.
No, they would be running away with the points if it's like that. Yeah.
But they'd be winning either way. If the points were, but it'd be a little closer of a match, and I think it'd be more fair for some of the smaller countries. You think they would want to do that? I don't know. Just a thought process I had that I'm just shocked that we have not gone to that as a Olympic. The Greeks came up with so much. You're telling me Plato, Socrates couldn't come up with this?
Plato came up with Plato. My kids love it.
Good for him. He did have that.
But
come on, Galileo Galilei.
Is it fair for like Zambia, and Malaysia and
it'd be better
teams
for
like
them
that only have like 1 bronze or something like that?
Yeah, but they still get 1 point.
Yeah, which is really
it's
what
it is anyways.
Yeah, anyways.
And if they get a gold, then they'll get 3 or 4.
Good point. So if they get 1 gold as opposed to another country that got 1 silver,
yes,
they aren't just tied in medal count of 1.
Yes,
they have. Of course, they wouldn't be tied in medal count anyway because they would have a gold.
Like Fiji has a silver, but they have 1 point, which means they're tied with Zambia and Peru and Egypt.
Yeah.
Like I'm just saying.
No, how about this? Slovenia has 1 gold. And
they're tied with Slovakia with 1 bronze with 1 medal.
And they're tied with Colombia that has 1 silver with 1 medal.
See?
But they've got a gold. Yeah. I think you're onto something here. You should talk to the
sticker.
International Olympic Committee. The IOC. Just call them up right now. Call up the IOC, see what
the IOC won't let me be.
Or let me be me.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying I came up and just trademark it. Everyone just say Sterling Holmes came up with this Olympic, and you can name it the 2028 Sterling Holmes Olympics.
Makes total sense.
That's just
makes total sense.
I'm a humble man.
By the way, this came across the timeline today. Ian O'Connor, you see the book he's writing? It's coming out August 20th. You're a book guy. I'm going to wait for this to be adapted into a movie. But Ian O'Connor is writing the unauthorized biography of Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, that'd be good.
So Ian O'Connor's worked for a couple of years on the biography of Aaron Rodgers. It is unauthorized because Aaron Rodgers has not okayed it. But
sure,
Ian O'Connor has said, I think last week he said that Aaron Rodgers did sit down for an interview with him. And Ian O'Connor was like, hey, more than grateful. He didn't have to do that. He sat down. It was a long interview. He addressed a lot of the questions that, I'm bringing up in the book. In fact, a big part of the book is him and his family's relationship.
Sure.
And Aaron Rodgers, apparently goes into that. But Ian O'Connor said that he finally agreed to an interview last month in the unauthorized bio. And he said, Aaron didn't know me anything, so I appreciated the in-person audience. I had 2 hours with him so we could respond to what I had learned and what I had been told during my research. He made it a better book. And then, we'll see what Aaron Rodgers has to say if he ever reads the book or not.
Sure.
But it is sort of, and it's called
Out of the Darkness.
there it is, Out of the Darkness. Yep. Aaron Rodgers.
Great title.
Yeah, it's great.
Out of the Darkness, The Mystery of Aaron Rodgers.
I
what
will
it's called.
for sure read that book.
Yeah, I will too. And he talked about, he did an interview with the New York Post last night. It came out today that said, he talked about the relationship and the issues as to falling out as to why he didn't have a relationship. And it's interesting what Ian O'Connor, not Aiden O'Connell, but Ian O'Connor is writing about is a lot of what the main rumors were, in that the big falling out was his relationship with Olivia Munn. Like when the whole thing first started, like it was talked about, like Olivia Munn is the one that has driven a wedge between the family and Aaron Rodgers. And
she's now married to that like comedian guy, right?
No clue.
The funny.
No clue.
The
Mr.
guy.
Munn? I'm not sure.
I have no idea.
But apparently,
John Mulaney. Yep.
Thank
John
you.
Mulaney, yeah.
I knew he was a funny guy.
So apparently it stems from her talking openly about their relationship in the room behind closed doors. She talked publicly about that particular part of their relationship, which one of the things that we did know about his family is that they were very religious, very conservative, devoutly disapproving of anything before marriage, living together, staying together, all of that. And hearing that publicly, and then knowing that road trips or vacations, they would be staying in the same hotel room. This was a disapproval from the mom. I think that might cause a rift in a lot of people's relationships in 2024, and that was back in like 2012 or 2013, whenever that was.
Sure.
But apparently things went from just rocky to completely out when Ed and Darla Rogers were, quote, sent to the island, which is what Aaron Rodgers calls people that he's no longer has in their life, and he exiles them. He, quote, sent to the island.
Darkness Retreat wasn't available?
I almost spit up my coffee because that's the most Aaron Rodgers. It couldn't just be cut him off. Sent to the island.
You have a relationship
It has
with
to
him?
be some sort of.
Send him to the island. Like you paid for their vacation? Like what? You got enough money to do that. But apparently, the parents sent a Christmas gift to Aaron when he was with Olivia. And as the story goes, Olivia Munn took the Christmas gift, sent it back. It happened to arrive the day before his dad's birthday. He thought it was a gift from them, opened it up and realized that Aaron Rodgers' significant other had just sent back the Christmas gift they sent. And at that point, they said, well, we are now done, as long as she's in your life. And that went on of not talking to each other until last year, 2023, in Lake Tahoe at the American Century Championship.
Hey.
Aaron Rodgers, in the interview with Ian O'Connor, said he was at the tournament, and he looked and he saw his dad in the crowd. And he said, I thought to myself, and he said he spotted Ed in the crowd at the American Century Championship, and he said Rodgers considered avoiding his father, but decided in that moment to try to mend fences. Here's a quote from Aaron Rodgers, and this is also perfectly Aaron Rodgers. Quote, I could do a lot of things, but I just thought, what's best in the moment, and what kind of gift could I give him? Not, can we work on this relationship together and mend these fences? I thought, what kind of gift can I give my dad? I know what it is. I'll talk to him again.
I'll talk to my dad. That's a gift?
The gift I'll give him.
That's like a 6-year-old who goes, Dad, I'll give you a hug. I forgot your gift,
Honestly,
Dad. Here's a hug.
I mean, clearly, and that's how you have a falling out and a dark period of family members that won't talk to each other because the other side thinks they would be doing the other side a favor by talking to them. And clearly, Aaron Rodgers, in his mind, talking to his dad is giving his dad a gift. Now, in his mind, he may be going, well, yeah, he's here watching me. He wants to be in my life.
Sure.
I don't want him in my life. He wants to be in my life. I could see it from that perspective. You know what? Let's do it. Let's mend the fences.
Jason, give me a gift. A gift of his book.
How about a gift of sports or leisure? That's better.
time. Why not both?
You're going to have a heart attack by the time you're 40 if you don't learn to relax.
It's time for sports or leisure on The Zone with Jason Anderson.
913-381-0810 is the phone number. 913-381-0810. Phone number. Join us. Play some sports or leisure. Load them up. First in, first on. 913-381-0810. Playing for $25 to Johnny's Tavern. Get a sports question, get a leisure question right. You win $25 to Johnny's. 913-381-0810. We'll tell you how to play and what the categories are here in just a second as we load up the phone lines. Want to give people at least a primer for the next couple of hours. Right now, the women's long jump final is getting ready to start. And that's Tara Davis-Woodall for the United States, one of the favorites in that. At 1:30, Noah Lyles will be competing in the men's 200, going for the double. He's already the fastest man in the world in the 100-meter. He is the heavy favorite to win the 200-meter today. So he is going for the double, his better race. He's better at the 200 than he is the 100. So that's at 1:30 today. At 2:25, Sydney McLaughlin, Run Sid Run, will be in the women's 400-meter hurdles final, in which she may lap the field. I don't know, but there is the bowl, Femke Bowl.
Yeah.
But this is hurdles.
I would say those two might just wax everyone.
Yep. And then at 2:45 is the men's 110-meter hurdles with Grant Holloway, one of the favorites to win that one. And that comes on the heels of the unbelievable, impressive, unexpected kick from Quincy Hall yesterday, rounding that turn. And I'm watching and obviously rooting for him. And I'm watching it, and I'm like, oh, damn, he's toast. Like, oh, this like I'm watching the other guys that are going to be pulling away. They're going to get to the end because he's already on the outside, so he already had that, head start. Now the guys on the inside are not head start, but, in the track. But the guys on the inside are starting to pass him up, so now they've got less distance to go, and he looks like he is laboring. Damn, that sucks. And then he hit the nos. I don't know that I've seen somebody that quick go from looking like they were just going to fall over in pain to then turning it on and outrunning everybody else and digging and digging and digging for more and digging for more and digging for more.
Love that the commentator used that as well.
Oh, did they? There was the digging.
We're talking about
Quincy Hall, yeah.
Yeah. Like Quincy Hall is digging deep was part of the call on the final stretch.
It was one of the, for lack of a better, heroism is we talk about in real life.
Yeah.
But
it gave me goosebumps.
Yeah, from an Olympic athlete, heroic, digging deep to where you've got nothing in the tank, but yet somehow you find it and you outrun the fastest people in the world at that race that already had a head start on you. Yep. When you start to turn it on, who also could turn it on if they, maybe had something left, and you track them down and beat them. It was unreal.
Dog, his head was bobbing. His hands were flailing. That is
just
not how you teach someone to run, and he still found a way to get it done.
It's like how somebody runs when they are toast.
Dude, and I looked up more after this because I was intrigued about the 400. I ran it in middle school because I hate running, but in middle school you're like, oh, it's kind of fun.
Sports. I'm not trying to be the best at exercise.
Exactly, but I ran it, but you can't sprint it, and even obviously back then. But I was wondering, do the best athletes in the world, is it a full sprint? And it's kind of like a yes and no, but because your body can't physically full out sprint 400 meters. The lactic acid buildup, and I look at the scientific aspect of that. And so basically everyone who was saying who actually runs like that, and the scientific wording was basically what he did had to be one of the top 10 most painful sports things you could possibly do, was running through that as the lactic acid is building up in your body. They basically were saying that had to be extremely painful. That's all guts, all glory. And he ended up with the gold. My mind can't wrap around what he did.
Yeah, and PFC William Santiago would not be able to run that race because the lactic acidosis would be an issue for him. Here's what it sounded like, though, with Quincy Hall yesterday.
He's fading badly at this point, Lee.
Jareem Richards on the outside. Matthew Hudson-Smith. Karate
Yes!
How do you find that? Like, honestly, like, obviously he's a gold medal winner in the 400 meter at the Olympics. He's the best in the world at doing that. But where does that come from to where you find that last bit?
But also the other runners they're not,
They're not
keeping
slow.
ground.
Like, it's not me. Like, you're running past those guys.
It's not Mr. Freeze at an Atlanta Braves game
Right.
where you're
you have to catch up to them and then keep going the rest of the way and then pass them. Where does that come from to find that energy?
You know where it comes from?
Just a dude who
Kansas City.
You're darn right. But,
Comes from Kansas City, baby.
But I mean, that's
Raytown South.
But also, dude, that's more than just training. I'm sorry. That's not just training, because everybody out there trained just as hard as Quincy Hall did.
Yeah.
All right, he didn't train harder. Like, I don't want to say that he didn't, but if you're an Olympic athlete, if you're in the finals, you've probably all trained about the same amount of time. Like, every training regimen, your coaches, all of that stuff. And then, body makeup sometimes is just simply different. Usain Bolt, body makeup was just different. He's training, everybody's training. He's just different when he starts running, when he was at his
Michael
peak.
Phelps in swimming was just built
Michael
different.
Johnson when he was doing it, like, just different. You can train all you want. That's not training. Like, to do that around that final turn, that's not training. I don't know that you can train for that. I mean, you can do it like, all right, now sprint when you're tired. Okay, but again, sprint when you're tired while you're going up against also the fastest sprinters or the fastest runners in the 400 in that last part when everybody's saving their kick. I mean, everybody's doing that.
I know what it is.
What is it?
It's why the USA is not part of Great Britain. It's why.
Yeah.
It
goes back to
1776.
I get it. No, that makes total sense.
You're gonna find a way to get it done, baby.
Yeah, dude, I was.
That's the American blood coursing through his veins. That's a bald eagle flying. That's Ted Nugent Stranglehold playing in the background.
I was like, Dylan's right. I had like actual real chills when that happened, and I was so like puffy chest, filled with pride of Kansas City when that happened, dude. It was just like, that dude's from Kansas City.
Yeah.
That dude that went and got that was whatever was left in the tank and outran everybody else when he had no business doing that. From what he looked like, and even the commentators going, he's fading. Like, oh crap, no, he's not. He looks like, and then when they showed the replay and they were talking about like around the foot, like, he looks like he's done at this point. Like, he's struggling. Like, you don't typically see somebody that's grunting and their face is looking like that if they're just smoothly running and getting ready for their kick. Like, it looked like he was in pain. Dude, it was so awesome. It's one of the highlights of the Olympics for me. Not just that it was the United States, but obviously being Kansas City and how he did it is just phenomenal. 913-381-810. Let's play some sports or leisure. 913-381-810. Sports or leisure, first in, first on. Here are the sports categories for today. Sports categories are Royals trades, Chiefs training camp darlings, and Olympics.
Wow.
So we've got Olympic questions, we've got Royals trades questions, and we have Chiefs training camp darling questions. What about on the leisure side, Sterling?
Well, you hit the gamut with all those sports.
You're darn right. That's what I do.
Let's get leisurely with one riddle left. We have one last riddle.
Okay.
So one last riddle. We have catchphrases. Catchphrases was a huge hit last week, so bringing that back. And my favorite, one-hit wonders. Now, the easier ones have been gone, but we still have a lot of one-hit wonders left. Surprisingly, there's been a lot of one-hit wonders throughout history, and we have a lot more on them this week.
Okay. So there have been a lot of one-hit wonders.
Shockingly, yes.
I thought pretty much everybody had at least 2 or 3 hits. If you were good enough to make a hit, you're probably good enough to make 2 or 3 hits. I interviewed, and again, I'm terrible with music, Brooks and Dunn.
Sure.
One of the guys.
Brooks or Dunn.
Either Mr. Brooks or Mr. Dunn. I'm not sure which one it was. But they had, was it the Boot Scootin' Boogie?
Well,
Is that Brooks and Dunn?
Yeah, but they also had a lot more than that.
I know.
Okay. I was saying, if you're about to call Brooks and Dunn one-hit wonder, we're throwing hands, dude.
No, there's a point that I'm making here
Okay.
that made me think about it when I was like, if you make one hit, then you can make a couple.
Sure.
But we interviewed him at the for the video side of it, we interviewed him for Social, and his line was, when we made that song and we listened to it, I realized it was so awful we finally had a hit. He said it was so bad I knew we had a hit.
That's great.
His point being, like, you know, whether it's pretentious or not, sometimes the artists are like, no, this is the song that should be a hit, but people are ignoring this.
Yep.
It's this stupid, you know, popcorn, fun beat that's repetitive, and that's what turns out to be a huge hit. He's like, it was so bad I knew we had a hit.
Now I want to hear some Red Dirt Road.
Yeah, right. I mean,
My Maria. Come on now. We got some.
Sure. My Sharona. I mean, whatever. But one-hit wonders.
There we go.
Did you use one from the other day that Todd was using? Did you
That
use
was
that one?
My Sharona, I thought.
Oh, was it?
The Knack?
No, it was a different one.
The Clash, Should I Stay or Should I Go? No, but the Clash had multiple. I can't throw the Clash
I feel like
on
you're
there.
giving away questions that you could be including in
But
wonders.
they're too easy.
All right, very good. 913-381-810. I'm ready to go. Sterling, you ready to play?
Oh, baby, I got coffee that I made, so it's not Dylan coffee. That's weak.
Okay, great. Man,
Strong coffee. Let's roll.
you like to call Dylan weak a lot. One of these days he's going to prove that he's not.
We already did a Oklahoma drill one time in the hallway.
He won.
I got my ass kicked.
I was gonna
Oh,
say-
dude, I got rocked by Dylan.
I'm not Oklahoma against Dylan. One, I'm not doing that at all, even against my son. I don't want to do that. But
it was a bad call on my end.
did you guys really do that?
Close to it. It wasn't a full-on Oklahoma drill, but it's
You serious, Clark?
it was a Lahoma drill.
Yeah. It was like a box out drill. is what
Oh,
it
okay.
really was.
All
Yeah,
right,
I
sounds
got
fun.
I got tossed.
All good, man. So we got the rebound. Couldn't get around him.
Yeah.
There you go. Good for you, Dylan. All right, 913-381-810 to the phone lines we go. Actually, Dylan, are you ready to go?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Stoked.
I don't think we asked you. We were making fun of his coffee, but all right, let's go to leading us off 913-381-810. Jeff is going to start us off here on Sports or Leisure on this Thursday. Jeff, what side do you want to start with? The sports side or the leisure side, sir?
Sports, I guess.
All right, we got what's that?
Sorry.
No,
What was the category?
Oh, good. We got Royals trades, we got Chiefs training camp darlings, and we have Olympics. Some questions about the Olympics.
Let's go Olympics.
All right, very good. There is an American woman who will be competing in a race this Olympics that currently holds the Olympic record in that event. Name either the athlete or the event. It's in track and field, so in athletics. The Olympics likes to call it athletics. We call it track and field. But there is an American woman competing in a race that she already holds the Olympic record for, that she's competing in track and field. Name either the athlete or the event.
Gabby.
Track and field. You have a last name? What do you say, Sterling?
Gabby Thomas.
It is not.
Was that his
Gabby
first
Thomas.
answer or his final answer?
Well, I mean, you know,
He was
his
pretty
first
confident with
answer-
that,
Yeah, it was
yeah.
pretty confident with
Am
that
I
one.
correct?
You're right, Sterling.
Yeah.
You're right. Jeff, thank you for playing, man. I appreciate it. 913-381-810, unless Gabby Thomas has already competed in that and holds the Olympic record, that would not be, you know, what we're sort of going for. Entering the Olympics, I should say, just to make sure that would be the case. But entering this Olympics.
I got the question
Yeah,
correct,
right.
so I understood.
Cool.
I understood.
Because you got it correct. You understood it.
I
Yeah,
understood.
Easy for you, apparently. Not for Jeff. I mean, you didn't help Jeff out.
I tried helping Jeff out. He was too quick.
I know. Sean, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with? Sean, what do you say, bud? Sports or leisure, man?
Leisure.
Leisure?
All right.
Sterling?
We have one-hit wonders, catchphrases, and one last riddle.
Okay, let's do the last riddle.
All right, last riddle, Sean. I'm impressed with you here. What has many keys but cannot open a single lock?
Alicia. Oh, she can open
She
locks.
could probably open locks.
Yep, I bet she can.
All right, Sean. What has many keys but cannot open a single lock?
I think I have an idea.
You can give me an idea. I'll tell you if you're on the right path. Is it a certain?
Like a mute? Is it a music? Has something to do with music?
yes,
I mean,
correct.
I mean,
Yes.
if you think it does, you know, what do you think?
Okay, so then that would be a piano.
Yes,
Yeah,
it is a
see,
piano.
That was easy. It was easy. There you go. On to the sports side. We got Olympics, we got Royals trades, and we have Chiefs training camp darlings.
Okay. I want to do Olympics, but I do not know the answer to that one that you just asked, so I'll take a new one if I could.
Okay. Who holds the Olympic and world record for the women's 200 meter? Same woman?
Yeah.
U.S.
They already did. They already did the 200 for the women, right?
She is no longer competing.
Oh, she's not.
Yeah, this is, I should just say entering the Olympics this year, but this record has stood for a while.
U.S.
U.S. sprinter.
Faster than Jason and myself.
Some would argue.
How old are we? Are we talking 80s?
We're talking 80s. She's one of the two famous three named women athletes in the United States history.
Mm.
You just have to figure out which one, I guess, at that point.
So it's not.
Long jump going on right now. Hey, Leon Marchand's there, watching some long jump. His Olympics are over.
So you had Jackie Joyner Kersey, right? And then you had, who was the other one?
Snoop is, of course, there. I mean,
Griffin.
Simone
Griffin.
Biles. She's there at the track.
I don't know,
mean,
I
they're getting
only
ready
got-
for this 200-meter final.
I only got one of the. I think it's she has like Griffith or something in her name, Griffin or something, but I don't know the rest of her name. So
Let's say that
Peter Griffin.
Let's say she was Dr. Duncanstein, but married a first baseman for the Royals who was first named Wally back in the day in the 90s. And she's from a town in Italy. First name.
Oh, town in Italy.
First name, maybe a town. Dr. Duncanstein.
Naples.
And
Rome.
Florence Griffin.
I say we count it.
I mean, one more. Would have married a first baseman for the Royals back in the 90s.
Wally Blank.
Uh-huh.
A guy who I said it was a top 5, was a free agent or Royal.
Yeah, he liked him.
Yeah, I liked him. I talk about it all the time on the
That's
show.
our first baseman.
Yeah. He brings you happiness.
Does he?
Well,
I'm not
think
sure.
of happiness, but think of it as a.
I'm not sure what that is. That confused me. That confused me.
Yeah, I can't. It's not coming to me, but I know it.
Do you remember a first baseman, first name of Wally?
Wally Blank, starts with a J.
Oh, okay. You guys are confusing me a little bit. All right, so Florence Griffin Joyner.
We'll take it, even though it's Griffith. We'll take it. That's the Dr. Duncanstein, Daryl Griffith back in the day. Dr. Duncanstein.
You guys give me a lot of hits, man.
No, we didn't. No.
That was all you. That was all. Joyner. I was saying happiness because he brings you happiness, brings you joy.
Joy,
No.
okay.
Yeah, nope, that confused me
That
too.
confused you?
That confused
Okay.
me. By the way, how pissed is Jeff right now?
Well, Jeff went too quick for me
like,
to give him hips.
Gabby. I'm sorry, man. We sorry about that. Sean, we'll give you 15 guesses.
Jeff, just know that I
sometimes-
was going to give you hints if you would have asked.
Sometimes it's luck of the draw. Like you just never really know. Sean will put you on hold and get your information. Congratulations, sir.
And I completely appreciate you guys. Thank you.
You got it, man. 913-3-810-810. And Jeff's like, what the hell, man?
Johnny's is like, I don't know if he deserves a 25. We'll give him 12.
By the way,
We'll
have you
cut
been
that gift
watching
card
the
in half.
speed climbing? The speed climbing is one of the more amazing events that I've watched. It's unreal. I mean, these guys are going straight up the wall in 4.5 seconds. It just looks like they're, just spider monkeys climbing up a tree. It's crazy, man. All right, let's go to see who is up next. Jake up next on Sports Radio 810, a little sports or leisure. Jake, what side would you like to start with, sir? The sports side or the leisure side?
Sports, please.
All right, we got Olympics, we got Royals trades, and we have Chiefs training camp darlings.
Royals trades.
Royals trades. Okay, how old of a fella are you?
A little bit older than you.
Okay, very good. You know what? Let's just go back to 2014. Let's do that. In 2014, the waiver trade deadline, which no longer exists in baseball, existed still. So that means you could make trades in August. What player did the Royals acquire via a waiver claim and subsequent trade that ended up picking up one of the biggest hits in the entire 2014 postseason for the Royals?
Oh.
Sometimes gets lost in the shuffle of 14 in that amazing, amazing game that everybody remembers.
Can I tell you which team it came from? Can I ask?
Well, I already know. You don't have to tell me.
I know, but
you were looking at me when you said that. Are you talking to Jake?
Do you want? Did he come from a team that
the National League?
Huh?
Did he come from the National League?
Oh, I was thinking of someone else. I was thinking of from the Twins. I was gonna say, was he a big fan of Coors Light and Twins?
And Twins. He did come from the Twins.
Okay, so I was right then. Yeah.
Yep. I always knew him from the Marlins.
I get it
because that's
yeah,
what he started with, like the first 5 or 6 years of his career.
I just know he came from the Twins. That's why I just remember that.
Finished like top 10 in Rookie of the Year with the Marlins.
Yeah.
But he did make an All-Star game with Minnesota.
Yeah.
That is true. He did.
It was a little booty knock into right field,
It
too.
was a little booty knock. Yep. And got somebody on base. Ran for him.
Yeah. About all he did.
All he did. Really, that's all he had to do. Doesn't even matter who they gave up for him. I don't even remember.
If there's a will, there's a way.
Is there? Jake, what do you think? It's not Florence Griffith Jr.
Do you like turkey or
not
ham?
It's not Peter Griffin.
It's not Peter Griffin
Do
either.
you like turkey or ham?
It depends. Like, I like ham as a full-on meal, but lunch meat, I'll choose the turkey. So
First name could have been one of your former co-hosts.
could have been, yeah.
Could have been.
That's right. You want to throw a dart, Jake? Came up with the
I don't know why.
Marlins, traded from the Twins. Big hit in, we'll just say the wild card game because that's what it happened in. Huge hit in the wild card game, starting a rally. And that's really all he's remembered for. All right, throw a dart, bud.
I know it's not Raul Ibanez. I know that.
That's true.
Well,
Was that your guess?
Correct. It's not Raul Ibanez.
So is that a winner? Because
Okay.
he said it's not Raul Ibanez? Like, is that, I mean,
He knows it was not.
just
That's-
name, not Mike Sweeney.
Oh,
You got it.
Willingham, Ty Willingham.
You know what? It's not Ty Willingham because he did not coach at Notre Dame, but
One of
we
Jason's
also-
old co-hosts.
we also only accept last names if somebody just gives
Yeah.
us a last name. So do you want to try the guess again?
Yeah, he played. His last name was Willingham.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yep, that's right.
Josh Willingham.
Josh Willingham, that's right. He had the booty knock into right field to lead off the ninth as a pinch hitter.
I thought if there's a will, there's a way. Turkey or ham,
Ham,
and one
Will.
of
and Josh.
and Josh.
Oh,
So-
is it Corey Corey Willaturkey? Corey Wilturkey?
Corey won a turkey.
No,
Yeah.
he did that day. On to leisure with not Josh.
We have one-hit wonders and catchphrases.
Let's do catchphrase.
All right. You are again.
Boy, by the way, even with this one, Jeff is still pissed. Now he's even more
Ca-
mad. Even more mad.
Jeff
All right.
Jeff actually called to let us know that he was.
Did he act? That's
yeah,
great.
Yeah, he's disappointed.
Not happy about it.
He's not mad. He's
I'm
just
not mad.
disappointed.
I'm just disappointed.
Yep.
Okay. We'll go with catchphrases. This was news related, and he used to always sign off by saying, "And that's the way it is."
Walter Cronkite.
Yeah, there we go.
Paul Harvey. Oh, wait.
I thought that was going to be hard, so I'm glad you got that one.
Nice job. We'll put you on hold, Jake, and get your information. Congratulations. Really, really earned it. So well done. Thank you for playing, sir.
You guys are helpful. Thank you.
No problem. See, today is as close as it gets to it when Mick says this game should be called Everybody Wins, except for Jeff that would like to have a word with Mick about the name of this game. Let's go to who is up next. John next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. John, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
Oh, probably on the sports side.
Okay, we got
And,
Royals. Go ahead, if you already know the game.
No, sorry. Royals trades.
All right, very good. You know what? Let's stay with that same theme. Not the waiver wire, but same year. In 2014, because we had this conversation a couple of days ago, I think, with Todd, either this last Tuesday or the Tuesday before that, about talking about that 2014 team that didn't make a trade at the trade deadline. That was one of the bigger stories, is that Royals were standing pat, and it was like Dayton. Everybody else is making moves. Detroit got David, left-handed pitcher from Vanderbilt.
Price?
Yeah, David Price. Detroit got David Price, and all these other teams were making moves, and the Royals did not. But before the trade deadline, 2 weeks before the trade deadline, they did make a move and acquired a relief pitcher in a trade. That guy would pick up 2 different wins in the 2014 postseason that year. So while they did not make a trade at the trade deadline, they traded for somebody 2 weeks before that who got a win in, that's right, Sterling. Who, he was a winning pitcher, though.
It was a TV show, right?
Yeah, he was a winning pitcher.
Was it a TV show at one point? Spelled differently.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
They got this fella from the Texas Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Same name as someone on the show.
Sterling Friends?
Seinfeld. Sterling Seinfeld. Yeah.
It was, yep. Sterling Family Matters. Nailed it.
Oh, my gosh. I am drawing like a complete blank. now I got all these names run through my head.
It's funny because 2 different pitchers, may have been 3 different pitchers, but he is tied with another pitcher for multiple wins that postseason. Like, he had 2 of them. And there was another pitcher that I think had 2 wins that postseason.
You can think of, so think of our first names.
It's so funny, like the trades they made, this one and then Willingham had huge moments that sort of just get brushed aside, because then the huge trades at the trade deadline of 15, winning the World Series, the bigger players in the 14 postseason run. But this guy came on and, was the pitcher of record a couple times.
Oh gosh, I mean the only guy I'm thinking about is the one who's like the GM of the Rangers now, but that's not.
That's Chris Young. No, it's not Chris Young.
No, it wasn't Chris. No.
Shoot. Any other hints or
first name of someone on this show currently should be very helpful, and you can probably take out Sterling.
God, we'd love to.
You can't afford to go through any more co-hosts, Jason.
You ain't wrong.
At some point, it's a you issue then.
So far, so good. Has not been a me issue. I don't think. Contrary to popular belief by some.
Gosh, I know you guys are being super helpful, but God almighty, I cannot think of.
Last name is the same, but spelled differently than someone currently on the Royals roster.
Is that right? That's what you're going to go for?
A left-handed bat.
Just randomly, it
is though. First name of someone on this show, and the last name is someone on the Royals' current roster as a left-handed bat.
All right, John.
Spelled differently.
When the buzzer hits, we need a guess. When the buzzer hits here, it's about to hit. We need a guess.
Damn, left-handed bat off the Royals.
Pretty good hint, though, right?
It's not bad.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, John, thank you for playing, man. I appreciate it. 913-381-810. Let's take a timeout. We'll come back. We've been holding hands today.
I feel like I've given some good hints today.
We are kumbaya-ing as much as we can. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue rolling and play some more sports or leisure. That question is out there for someone to call in and request that's been yelling at the radio. More zone right after this. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. 913-381-0810 is the phone number. Playing some sports or leisure. Spoiler alert, if you are going to be watching the 200-meter final for the men later on tonight, it just took place. Again, spoiler alert. The double, the winner of the 100 and 200, will not be this year. What went off right before the race, the minus 500 favorite, Noah Lyles, did not win. Or I think finished second.
He medaled.
He medaled, but I think he finished third. He didn't have anything. Like, he never had the burst. Like, he turned the corner, and he didn't have it. And he's now laying on the ground and getting water. I think Kung Fu Kenny got second. Kenny Bednarik. Tobogo from Botswana ended up winning first, and he took off when they got around that turn.
He was gliding, dude. He looked smooth.
Yeah, and Noah Lyles finishing, I believe, second or third. I think it ended up. They haven't shown.
I think Kenny got. I think he got him at the very end.
The one thing that I've really appreciated about these races is that they wait 10 minutes to post who finished first, second, and third. Even though the 100-meter, Noah Lyles knew like 30 seconds after it was over. But then they still had to wait like 5 minutes before they put it on the screen. They still haven't put it on the screen yet. Now they're even showing the replay before they put on the screen who finished first, second, third, or fourth.
So when someone comes on Sports or Leisure and we scream or say, he got second, he got third, you know what we're talking about.
He just didn't have it. I mean, he did not have it. They turned the for the straightaway, and he tried to turn it on, and then it just didn't fire. It didn't fire. He stayed there, and, he got third. He gets the bronze. Kung Fu Kenny gets the silver, so good for him. He's a fun story as well. But Noah Lyles finishes third, and NBA fans that hate Noah Lyles rejoice all over the country. Which
I'm
is
still
weird.
Team USA, so I don't
Absolutely.
care.
I wanted to see history. I like
if you root against anyone from USA, I'm like,
he's brash. He's a talker. He backed it up in the 100.
Yeah.
This was his better event, and he didn't back it up.
Yeah.
But also credit to
Botswana.
from Botswana. All right, let's go back to the phone lines, 913-381-0810. But you know what? Less than an hour from now, Sydney's going to take care of business in the women's 400-meter hurdles. No matter if there's a bowl.
TCB.
I don't care if there's a bowl or not. Let's bring in Andrew next up on Sports Radio 810. All right, Andrew, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
Let's go leisure catchphrase.
All right. Screw you guys.
Okay.
I'm going home.
Cartman.
Yeah, nice job.
There we
go. Nice job.
I said Bart.
Bart, no. We would have told you to eat my shorts if you'd have said that, okay?
Yep.
Come on, man. Fanboy, would you have gotten Cartman right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
How could I not have got Eric Cartman right?
I don't know. There's a lot of things where I go to Sterling. How could you not have known that, Sterling? But
Name
he
one.
You are eating like you have a hollow leg. Literally just happened in the show.
Name 4 more.
I swear to God, 13 or 14 more times, and I'm out of here. All right, on to the sports side. Royals trades, Chiefs training camp darlings, and Olympics.
Chiefs training camp.
All right, training camp darlings. Marty Schottenheimer used this camp darling's name when he started an answer with 2 words. Name. Graduated from Northwest Missouri State. Bearcats in the house. He couldn't hold on to the football and never actually played for the Chiefs. But when it comes to running backs, he's still the basis of comparison for training camp darlings, along with Brian Shea. But this guy, not Brian Shea.
Yep.
This guy. Northwest Missouri State. Bearcat. Was a huge darling, but he had fumble problems during camp. I think he may have broke his hand, too.
Marty, that's a long time.
Yeah, it was a Marty guy. It was a Marty guy. Well, we've already used Bobby Scipio and Justin Ross and Brian Shea, etc.
I thought I'd get the Bobby Scipio question again.
Just every single one, Bobby Scipio.
We can only use that once a day.
Okay.
It's actually a FCC regulation rule. You
That's
can
right.
only say Bobby Scipio as a question one time. It's
That's
wild.
right.
Yeah.
That is correct. You cannot be the answer to
Get
different
fined.
questions, or there is a fine. Truer words never spoken.
He never even played.
No,
for
he
the
didn't play
Chiefs,
for the
so I-
Chiefs,
I
no.
probably don't. I don't really even have a guess.
He'd be an uncle on an old TV show and also a brand of underwear. Huh?
Okay. Uncle on an old TV show.
Yeah.
Jesse Haynes.
Look at you.
Wow, nails.
You didn't even need a hint with that, Andrew. Nice job.
Wow.
Great pull. Jesse Haynes.
That was great, man. That's a winner.
I did not Google that either.
No, you didn't. I mean,
I could tell just the
Jesse Fruit of the Loom.
I was gonna say. I was trying to think of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the dad, and Fruit of the Loom. I thought that'd be a good one.
I'll say I was trying to look up the answer and I couldn't find it, so I really don't think he looked up the answer.
No.
I think that was completely legit.
I was looking for Phil Fruit of the Loom. Uncle
There you
Phil
go.
Fruit of the Loom.
Uncle Phil Fruit of the Loom. Yeah.
That's a winner, right? Because he started with you.
Yeah, he did.
All right, Andrew,
Nailed
put
it.
you on hold. Get your information. Congratulations, man. Well done.
Thank you.
Easy. Yeah, absolutely. He nailed that. Jesse Haynes. Everybody knows that one.
Good for him.
Come on, Bearcats in the house. Let's go to Shane next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Shane, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
Hi, Jason. Once a Bearcat?
Always a Bearcat.
Sir, I want to start with leisure, please.
All right, baby. What do you want? One-hit wonders or catchphrases?
Let's do one-hit wonders.
All right, one-hit wonders. We'll go with Hooked on a Feeling. Hooga shaka, hooga shaka, hooga shaka, hooga, hooga, hooga shaka.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
And I've heard that song a million times.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't step on these shoes.
I can't hear that song now without thinking immediately of Guardians of the Galaxy.
That was a pretty good hint. I just gave a pretty good hint.
Yeah.
Don't
right.
step on these shoes.
Yeah, that's fine. Cool hint.
All right.
What was that?
I'm thinking of blue. Well, you said shoes, but I'm not. That's my guess. Blue suede.
Yeah.
Okay.
Blue Suede.
Is it called Blue Suede?
The band, the artist is Blue SWEDE. Blue Suede.
Oh, cool. Good job. Well done. All right. Yeah, cool. Yeah, now I learned something. Royals trades, Chiefs training camp, Darlings, or Olympics?
They're from Sweden,
What are you
that's why.
thinking, Shane? Oh, yeah, sure.
Royal trades got me last week, and I didn't get it, so I'm gonna have to try to redeem myself here.
All right, so we have one that's out there already about a relief pitcher in 2014, or we have two fresh ones.
Now, I was thinking about I can't figure out that 2014 one that's out there. Let's do a fresh one, please.
All right, so in 2001, the Royals traded two different All-Stars that ended up bringing back shortstops in the trade. Who were the shortstops the Royals got back in those trades? Two separate trades, two All-Stars the Royals shipped out. Both trades brought back shortstops. One who was a current Major League player, the other one who was a minor leaguer and a prospect.
Two shortstops.
Yep.
Okay.
One trade brought back a shortstop prospect that would go on to have a really, really good rookie year. And the other one brought back a shortstop that was helped by the ballpark he played in.
Yeah, but just a really good rookie year, right? Just one really good.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, became a Dodger.
Not
I believe.
exactly Bob Hamlin, but, you know.
Did he become a Dodger, I believe, at one point?
I don't know. He was his bat would dodge baseballs, it seemed like, a lot as the career went on.
One of those guys won a Rookie of the Year, maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, I'll go with Angel Baroa.
Angel Baroa, that is correct. That's one shortstop.
The other one, wow.
Yep.
I'm not gonna get this one. I'm not gonna get it.
Well, I mean, you got the Johnny Damon trade out of the way.
Yeah.
Now you need the Jermaine Dye trade.
Jermaine Dye. Yeah.
Oh, helped by the ballpark he was playing.
That's right.
Yeah.
He put up crazy numbers.
Yep.
Where a lot of people put up crazy numbers. And then we look back and what a crazy-ass trade that was.
Yep.
World Series MVP, Jermaine Dye.
Well. I don't know, guys.
I'll go ahead and say he may have played with Todd Helton.
Yeah, he did. I mean,
Dante Bichette.
Oh, now okay. Okay, when he said that, I was thinking he was the Rockies, and
There you go. Yeah, Perez. We accept last names. Nathan Perez. Nice job. Well done. See, that was easy. No hints or anything. Nice job. Well done. Shane, I think that's another winner, right? We'll put you on hold and get your information. I think we have only not had 2 winners today. One of those being
Poor Jeff.
Sorry about that, Jeff. Let's go to Matt next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Matt, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
I will try that Royals trade question that's out there.
Yes, in 2014, the Royals didn't make a move at the trade deadline, choosing to stay with the team they had. But 2 weeks before the deadline, they made a move for a relief pitcher. He would pick up 2 wins in the postseason that year, including the wild card game. He was the pitcher of record.
But Jason Fraser.
Jason Fraser is correct. By the way, looking up some of the questions from last night, looking up questions for trades, and I stumbled upon a story from ESPN about all the different teams that made the moves and the criticism of the Royals that did not make a trade.
Sure.
And then part of the story was the Royals had opportunities to trade James Shields. There's no way this small market team will be able to afford James Shields in the offseason. They should have moved him. And there are plenty of teams that would have needed setup man Wade Davis. And the Royals chose not to make a move with either of those. And instead, they're going to go into this offseason and not be able to pay James Shields and have a setup man that would have brought back lots of prospects in Wade Davis.
Probably a Yankees fan who would have said they should have traded him for
it's
Clint Frazier.
But here's the thing. They were talking to teams about those trades. Like, they were trying to acquire. They were trying to move things around. It didn't work out. Thankfully, it didn't work out.
I'd go out on a limb to say it worked out okay for the Royals.
That's
Just
what I meant.
okay,
Like, it didn't work out in trades that day.
Yeah.
Like they were trying to get things done. Thankfully, they didn't get anything done, and that's what Dayton was like. Well, there wasn't anything that worked, with who we wanted and who other people. It just didn't work. Well, these dummies keeping a guy who's a free agent is a small market. You're not going to be able to sign James Shields. Frickin' trade him.
Yeah,
dumbass. Big game James. What's he going to do? Name one thing he'll do in the postseason. Won't pitch in a World Series. I'll tell you that. Anyway, go ahead. Leisure with Sterling.
We have one-hit wonders and riddles.
Out of catchphrases.
We are. Oh, sorry. We're out of riddles. We have one-hit wonders and catchphrases.
That was actually the riddle for you.
Yeah, that was the riddle. Yeah.
Catchphrase.
Nailed it.
All right. So you choose catchphrases. We'll go with Lucy. You got some splaining to do.
Oh.
Lucy.
I know the show.
You got some splaining to do.
Is it like Ricky Ricardo?
There we go, baby.
Well done. That's another winner.
Yeah.
We are just on fire today. Winner after winner after winner.
And that was no hints that time. That was just
not at all. You just said the catchphrase.
Yeah.
That's how it typically is supposed to work.
Supposed to work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Matt, we'll put you on hold. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Absolutely. 913-381-0810. We need to take a timeout. We will come back, and Fanboy is heading to college.
Wow.
Last day here, and we all rejoice. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels. Coming up at 2:25, Sydney McLaughlin will be running in the women's 400-meter hurdles. And then Grant Holloway at 2:45 will be running in the men's 110-meter hurdles to try to win gold. Spoiler alert, if you did not hear, but spoiler alert, in the 200-meter, Noah Lyles did not win gold and did not win silver. Finished third in the 200-meter final after winning the 100-meter, the lesser of his two events, and losing the 200-meter, in which he went off right as they were being introduced is when the books closed down. I think the last thing I saw was minus 475 for Noah Lyles to win. I wish I would have taken a quick screenshot to see what the Botswana runner was. The next closest was plus 450, so it might have been him.
Could have won some money.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't have put any money on that because I thought Noah Lyles was going to, pun intended, run away with it, but he did not. But I think Sydney will do that coming up about 30 minutes from now. Fanboy, you're heading off to Columbia.
Yep.
Done.
Yep, this Saturday I'm headed back.
So we'll never see you again here at the station. That is too bad, man. What are you doing?
Man.
What are you doing? You got to be back here. Come on. What are you doing? Okay, so now they're taking Noah Lyles off in a wheelchair.
Is this his Paul Pierce moment?
That's a little Paul Pierce.
It's a little Paul Pierce. I'm going to miss you, fanboy.
Yeah.
Hey, but
Sterling is going to miss you.
Hey, but I'm going to see Sterling. He's got a big event going on here soon in Columbia. So
That's right. Oh, I was going to ask you,
Bachelor
will you be in Columbia the weekend when his bachelor party's going on?
He's already asking what bars I'm going to be at.
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
He's trying to
See if he can get in.
Well, he's trying to blackmail me, I think.
Oh, I see.
I think he's like, okay, oh yeah? Well, I remember you drunk at Shiloh at...
I'm trying to bring down the career of Sterling Holmes.
No, you just want something to where when you graduate, hey, Sterling, put in a good word here. You owe me. Because I got this on you.
I don't know what I could possibly do, but
I have no idea. What did you learn here, fanboy?
I learned a lot of stuff, but I would say biggest thing I learned is be flexible, be willing to do anything you're asked.
Yeah, yoga. Be flexible.
Eat healthy. Sterling taught me that.
But no, that by the way, that's a great thing to learn. Be flexible. Be willing to do a lot of different things. What I had always said when I graduated, unfortunately, don't say no. Like, when you're starting your career, not really in a position at times to say no, depending on what it is. But that's part of it, being flexible, doing different things, man. It was fun having you, brother.
I appreciate you guys.
Yep. Best of luck. We'll see you down the road. Program comes up next.